Astros fans, your team is flying high right now. The Astros won again last night with a tried and true formula. Clutch hitting, like this Chris Johnson 2-out 3-run blast. And solid pitching from its starters. Bud Norris held the Brewers' offense to just 1 run on 3 hits for his 8th win of the year. Today, it's a lunchtime matinee of Astros baseball from Minute Maid Park. The Astros try to sweep the Brewers out of town and keep the good times rolling. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today, the Astros go for a 3-game sweep of the Milwaukee Brewers. Good afternoon, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim DeShays. The Astros have won 6 straight here at home for Milwaukee, 3 of those by shutout, JD.
Yeah, Brewers having a hard time scoring runs in this ballpark. All the opponents are having a hard time here. The Astros 18-6 in their last 24 games in this park, and in those 18 wins, they've allowed a grand total of 30 runs.
Well, Chris Johnson got the Astros off to a nice start. They trail 1-0, but he hit a 3-run homer in the first.
Second big 3-run home run by Chris Johnson on this homestand. He had one against Ted Lilly of the Cubs last night. Delivered for Bud Norris. Again, it was all Bud needed. He was really, really good. Chris Johnson, since the All-Star break, 38 of his 46 RBIs. The last week, 3 bombs, 9 driven in. And he's 7 out of 9 against today's Brewer starter, Dave Bush.
As Dave Bush takes the hill, the Astros have seen him quite often over the years. Will they bushwhack him today? Well, Jay Happ would love to fit into that game plan. It's his start today, and he's undefeated in his career at Minute Maid Park. We'll see that matchup coming your way next. First pitch is coming from Jay Happ to Ricky Weeks. One of the most powerful leadoff men around, and he takes it for strike one. Weeks with a .261 average has 26 home runs, and he's driven in 78 runs. He's hit 7 leadoff homers this season, 20 in his career. Looks at that one, and it's a strike. And Jay Happ, with Jim Reynolds calling it, is ahead 0-2.
Jay Happ just busting a couple right over that outside corner to get the jump on Weeks, getting ahead of him without giving him much to swing at.
Weeks looks at a breaking pitch in the dirt. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
And Jay Happ at Minute Maid Park has been outstanding. 6 starts, 4-0 record, an ERA of 0.96.
In his major league career, he has a .731 winning percentage. That's the highest of any active starter, 19-7. Popped up foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the starting lineup for Ken Macha's Brewers. Brought to you by Capital One. It's Weeks, it's Corey Hart, Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, Casey McGee, Carlos Gomez, Alcides Escobar, Jonathan Lucroy, and Dave Bush. The Brewers are 66-78. They've fallen 3.5 behind the Astros for 3rd place. There's a shot foul.
Ooh, heads up, folks.
A lot of kids at the game today. A lot of school children were here for a weather conference before the game. That one went to the grown-up section. Now they learned about hurricanes and things of that nature from the Channel 11 meteorologists.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd they do that?
Well, there's a drive to center field. Michael Bourne going back. He watches this one sail. And that is another leadoff homer for Ricky Weeks. 1-0 Milwaukee as Weeks hit his 27th home run of the year there. And his 8th leadoff homer this season, 21st of his career.
And Jay Happ, a fly ball pitcher, likes to work up in the zone with his fastball. And Weeks able to take advantage of it there, jumping all over that one. Let's see where it is. Fastball up and out a little bit. He gets the head out in front of it. An impressive swing of the bat for Ricky Weeks.
Well, he leads the major league leadoff man in long balls and runs batted in. Now Corey Hart, another guy who can go deep, takes ball 1. He has 28 bombs. He's driven in 90 with a .277 average. He has 2 homers against the Astros this season. Hart hits one foul third base way, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Corey, who's 1 for 6 with a homer in this series. Ryan Braun hit a first-inning homer last night, but the Astros won it 3-2.
Yeah, they. This is kind of in keeping with what they do. They haven't been scoring a lot of runs lately, but they have a lot of power in their lineup. So Hart hit a home run in the first game of the series, Braun in the first inning yesterday, and now Weeks.
Ken Macha's club has bashed 168 home runs. That's more than any other National League team. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jim Reynolds gets a new supply of baseballs. He's the home plate man with Bill Welke at first, Mike DeMuro at second, Tim Welke at third. Some of the school kids here today. That was a 420-foot blast by Weeks. And this one goes foul and out of play for a 2-ball, 2-strike count for Jay Happ, who's 2-0 in his career against the Brewers with a 3.38 ERA.
He's been rock solid since joining the Astros. He had that one bad game in St. Louis. Since that game back on August 4th, he's 4-1 with a 2.17 ERA.
Another one out of play. The Astros have been getting an amazing run of starting pitching. In the last 15 starts, their starters are 9-0 with a 2.85 ERA. Last time they had a streak longer than this without a starting pitcher losing was in '94. They went 16 games in a row. 3-2. For the last 34 games, Astros starters have an ERA of 2.52. And the team earned run average now has come down to 4.00. Ball keeps the count full.
And look at the numbers on Jay over his last 3 starts, 2 wins, no losses, and no decision, a 1.29 ERA. Been tough to hit. made 12 big league starts this year between his time with Philadelphia and Houston. 3 runs or less in 11 of those 12 ball games.
That's hit well to right center field. It jumps out by Michael Bourne, and one hops the wall and then carries over the wall into the bullpen for a double for Hart. His 30th 2-base hit of the year.
If this keeps up, we're going to run out of baseballs. One in the seats, one in the bullpen. We're going to have to stop saying good things about Jay Happ because we're jinxing him. But again, this Brewer club full of powerful hitters, and Hart puts a good swing on that fastball. Maybe with a little something to prove here this afternoon. They have not scored well at all here in this ballpark this year.
Ryan Braun has had a good series. With 21 homers and 86 runs batted in. He hits .305 for the season. And he's gone 4 for 8 with a homer in this series. He rips one to left field, and that'll make it 3-0 very quickly as Braun hits his second in as many games in the first inning. 22 homers for Braun, 88 runs batted in, and quickly it's Brewers 3, Astros nothing.
Jason Castro out to have a chat with Jay Happ, and not a whole lot you can say at this stage. I mean, his stuff is fine. And it's just left a couple pitches over the plate, and the Brewer hitters have been able to take advantage of it.
Brewers have 5 players with 20 homers or more. They have put together a fuselage of extra base hits. Homer, a double, a homer, and now here is ball 1 to Fielder. Prince with 30 homers and 74 runs batted in has a .271 batting average.
Not exactly the guy you want to face after going home run, double home run. And the confidence may be shaken a little bit. But the fastball there catches the inside corner.
Fielder missed the game Monday night with a flu. Last night he was 0 for 4 with 30 bombs. He's hit 2 against Houston this year. Infield shifted around for Prince. And it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count with Casey McGee on deck. They expect Prince to pull the ball. He is 2 for 7 lifetime against Jay Happ. The Braun homer was a 413-footer. Now it's 3-1. And Happ, who has a career ERA of 0.96 at Minute Maid Park with a 4-0 record, trying to get things established here against Fielder. It's 3-2. Jay beat the Brewers here 5-0 back on the 30th of July. 6 innings of 2-hit shutout ball right after the trade that brought him to the Astros from the Phillies. The Roy Oswalt upstairs, and Fielder draws a walk. And now 4 straight Brewers have reached.
Brad Arnsberg making his first trip to the mound this afternoon. And the way Happ has been going on, I'm sure not one he anticipated having to make. He's been so good. Again, I think it's not like he's made horrible pitches so far this afternoon. Brewers have just put some good swings on him. So that's the challenge now, to just turn the page. All right, you've given up 3, but Astros have been doing a lot of winning, so just try to put a tourniquet on it here, shut these guys down, and let the batters come back and do a little damage of their own.
Casey McGee, another of those guys who's in the 20 home run club. He's hit 22. He's driven in 94. And Casey hit a long ball last night. He's 2 for 8 in this series. 22 homers, 94 runs batted in the game, and a .283 batting average. Good numbers for Casey against Houston pitching. Strike 1 to him. McGee's 5th in the league in runs batted in right now. At 28 runs batted in August, and that led the majors.
Hey.
1-1. Wow. Happ looking in after the Jim Reynolds call. McGee leads all National League third basemen in runs batted in. Ryan Braun hit very well in 07 with 97 runs batted in. That was the franchise record for RBIs for a Brewer third baseman. That's to center. Michael Bourne back. And here's the tag at first by a fielder, but he will retreat as the throw comes in. 1 out. Everything in the air so far off J. Happ.
Yeah, with some pitchers that's an indicative of bad things coming, but not with Happ. He gets a lot of outs in the air in his best games. He's a fly ball pitcher. That high fastball is a fly ball pitch. The changeup, a lot of times you'll catch a hitter out on the front foot and they'll pop that ball up.
Carlos Gomez was a late addition to the starting lineup. Gomez takes ball 1. 229 for Carlos, 5 homers, 23 runs batted in. Lorenzo Cain was in the original starting lineup in this spot in center field.
What's wrong with Lorenzo?
Haven't heard. 2 balls, no strikes. There was a change made during batting practice today. 76 fly balls to 72 on the ground for J. Happ. 2 balls and a strike. Gomez spent some time on the DL. He's appeared in 10 games since he returned from that disabled list. Had a concussion. It's 2-2. Happ trying to get his bearings here after being ambushed by the Brewers. Leadoff homer by Weeks, double by Hart, 2-run homer by Braun right out of the gate. That one's fouled away. Still 2-2 with Escobar on deck. This will be the 30th pitch of the inning coming up. Tomorrow's an off day for the Astros. And they're back on the field Friday night here against Cincinnati at 7:05. It'll be Wandy Rodriguez and Johnny Cueto for the first place Reds. Cueto 12-5. Rodriguez 11-12. Up the middle, and that's a sharp hit. This time on the ground. Gomez singles, fielder to second.
J. Happ has to feel like he's up against it here today as the Brewers get very good swings against him. He's been squeezed a little bit by the home plate umpire on a couple of occasions. But now you're just wishing you could start all over again. Rewind the tape and start over from that point where you're walking in from the bullpen.
Alcides Escobar, 244, 4 homers, 40 runs batted in. Been hitting second a little bit in this series. Dropped back to the number 7 spot. That's where he normally has hit, down toward the bottom of the order this year. There's strike 1 to him. Escobar, a very good glove man. 1 for 8 in this series. He's hit into 8 double plays and 91 opportunities. Reaches for that one, and it's 0-2. Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher's on deck.
I doubt that the hitters view these as double play opportunities.
Probably not. Pitcher would.
Opportunity is usually an optimistic word.
Yeah.
It's a double play hazard, double play situation.
Right. Double play trap. Upstairs, and it's ball 1. Well, the Brewers are 4th in on-base average. They're 3rd in slugging in the National League. They've scored 663 runs prior to this inning. That ranks 5th best in the league. Plenty of offense for Ken Maka. A lot of strikeouts along the way, too. In the dirt. But lately, the offense has not been happening for this Brewer club. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Brewers were shut out twice in the previous series by the Chicago Cubs. And they've scored 6 runs in their 5 losses this season at Minute Maid Park. This one gets by the catcher, Jason Castro, and the runners move up. Fielder to third. Gomez to second on the wild pitch by Happ.
Taking a shot with a fastball down here and just spikes it. Castro tried to pick it as opposed to trying to block it. And the latter probably would have been a better play. Not an easy one, though. When a guy throws a fastball that far out in front of you, that's a tough pitch to contain.
It's the third 3-2 count for Happ. Now the infielders move in closer. Middle infielders play it halfway. That's punch foul now to play with Lucroy still waiting.
35 pitches in, just one out, two more in scoring position, and the Astros have early action in the bullpen.
Henry Villar is warming up. Swing and a miss by Escobar. Happ gets a strikeout. Well, we just haven't seen this type of an inning since Jay Happ joined the Astros.
Great change up there. He had that game in St. Louis where he worked an inning plus, but that was mostly control. And 3 walks in that outing. He did give up 6 hits. I guess it was somewhat similar.
Yeah.
But to me, in that game, he just had a hard time throwing the ball where he wanted to. For the most part today, I think he would tell you he's thrown the ball pretty much where he's wanted to. The hitters have just been able to take advantage of it. Breaking ball to Braun. He's just trying to get ahead in the count with a first pitch curveball.
Strike one to Jonathan Lucroy, a .267 hitter with 4 homers, 17 runs batted in. Now you're right, he gave up 7 earned runs in 1 inning in that game in St. Louis. Gave up a 3-run homer to Albert Pujols, and he was gone after 1. Lost that game 8-4. 0-2, but Jay had allowed a batting average of .215 coming into this game. He'd given up 51 hits in 68 innings, so he's not often been hit around like this in one frame.
8th place hitter here in this situation with a pitcher on deck with 2 outs. You're willing to expand your strike zone to try to drive in a couple of runs here.
Comebacker dropped, but plenty of time to recover and get the out. The Brewers explode with 3 runs on 4 hits. They leave 2. It's a 40-pitch first inning, and it's Brewers 3, Astros coming up. Milwaukee 3, Houston coming up. Bottom of the first, starting lineup brought to you by Capital One. Here it is from Brad Mills, Michael Bourne, Jeff Keppinger, Hunter Pence, Carlos Lee, Chris Johnson, Brett Wallace, Angel Sanchez, Jason Castro, Jay Happ.
Dave Bush for the Brewers this afternoon against the Astros. He's been pretty good. 15 starts, 6 wins, 3 losses, an ERA of 3.61. He's 0-2 against the Astros this year with an ERA a little above 4. Defensively, it's Braun, Gomez, Hart, left center, right infield of McGee, Escobar, Weeks, and Fielder. And Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. So, in the day game after the night game, Ken Maka trying to avoid this sweep. He's got all his regulars out there.
Strike to Michael Bourne. Michael at 263 with 2 homers has 37 runs batted in. He's at 278 against Milwaukee. Been on a nice surge lately. Bush misses there, and that evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Michael was on a 4-game hitting streak. The Brewers snapped that last night. But he had gone 7 for 16 in those 4 games with 2 triples and 3 runs batted in. Also 3 steals. Now it's a 2 ball, 1 strike count to Michael, who's hit .341 for the month of September. Driving in 7. 15 hits and 44 at bats for Michael this month.
He's hitting .360 with 10 RBI and 11 stolen bases in his last 23 games.
Ooh. That's about an 80 RBI pace for the season.
A little over 3 weeks of outstanding play from Michael. What's 3 weeks? 2 weeks is a fortnight. Yeah. Do they have a name for 3 weeks?
That's what I know.
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Fortnight and a half. Foul back, still 3-2. Well, the Astros have come from behind pretty often in the last 5-6 weeks. They've won 53 and lost 41, in fact, since the 1st of June. You're going to give up a 3 spot. Probably the first inning is the place to give it up. Bourne fouls it back.
And Dave Bush is a competent big league pitcher, but he's always been that kind of 5th starter guy. So he's not the type of pitcher, if you fall behind 3 runs, you're going, uh-oh, turn out the lights, we got no chance. 4.59 ERA this year, 4.67 for his career.
Out to left center. Braun kind of feeling for the wall there, 1 out. That ERA you mentioned that he has in his career against the Astros, about a run lower than his overall ERA as a major league pitcher. So he's done some of his best work against Houston.
Well, he's a good competitor. He's not blessed with a great arm. He's not a real hard thrower. So he'll give you a good mix of slider, curveball, changeup to go with a 85 to 88 mile an hour fastball.
Jeff Kepinger's facing him now. He's on a 3-game hitting streak, looking at strike 1. 292 for Jeff, 5 homers, 53 batted in, and he's hit a sizzling .368 against the Brewers with a homer, driving in 5. There's the big curveball at 67 for a strike. 0-2. Good pitch for Bush. Keppinger has hits in 10 of his last 11 games, hitting .381 since the 3rd of the month. Grounded foul. The Astros 5 games under 500 right now, 70 and 75. First time they've been 500 since the end of April 29th.
Now, the Astros are actually closer to the Cardinals in the standings than the Cardinals are to the Reds.
Out into center field, Gomez. Bush got that curveball up, but it worked for him for out number 2. Our Jaguar key matchup is brought to you by the 2011 Jaguar XJ. Dave Bush, 0-2 with a 4.09 ERA against the Astros. Hunter Pence, 10 for 26 in his career, and Chris Johnson is 7 for 9 against Bush.
Well, we'll keep an eye on those matchups this afternoon. Pence and Johnson versus Dave Bush. There's a little 2-out lightning going here.
Well, Hunter would love to comply. 286 his average with 24 homers. Bush catches the corner. There's strike 1. Hunter is now 10th in the league in total bases. There's a new career high for runs batted in. And 44 of those runs batted in have been since the All-Star break to tie him for the NL lead. No balls, 2 strikes. Hunter had reached base in 31 consecutive games at Minute Maid Park. That streak ended a few days ago. That was the longest streak since Lance Berkman reached in 44 straight home games in 04. That was a franchise record. Up the right field line, coming over Corey Hart to make the catch and make it a 1-2-3 first for Busch and a 3-0 lead for the Brewers.
Brewers with a 3-0 lead over the Astros. And hey, baseball fans, Chevy is a proud sponsor of youth baseball programs throughout the state of Texas. To learn more, log on to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Bill?
Thanks, Patty. 3-0. The Brewers exploding on Jay Happ in the first inning. Now in inning number 2. He delivers, and it's ball 1 to Dave Busch. The pitcher with 6 hits and 47 at-bats carries a 128 average. He has 1 RBI. That evens a count of 1 ball, 1 strike. The Brewers have scored well over 100 runs more than the Astros have for the year. They've also given up 100+ runs more than the Astros for the year. 2 balls and a strike. Final meeting of the season between these two. The Astros lead the season series 8-6.
You can be a good team when you rely heavily on pitching and not be such a good offensive club. Very difficult the other way around, though. Rarely do you see a team in contention or in the playoffs that they hit a lot but don't pitch. You have to be at least middle of the road in terms of pitching. So that would be priority number 1, I would think, for the Brewers this offseason.
Well, that's what the talk has been around their club.
A great example would be the Astros. They've been playing winning baseball for a while now, but offensively still not all that keen. Jack Nicholson's here. Oh, no, it's not him.
That's strike 3 to Busch. Strikeout number 2 for Happ. Patty?
Well, guys, be sure to join the Astros this Sunday for the second Faith and Family Night of the season after the 105 game against the Reds. Stick around for the event, including a concert with the Christian group Mercy Me. Tickets start at just $7. Visit Astros.com/mercy for tickets. Bill?
Thanks, Patty. It's Ricky Weeks now. Weeks blasted that leadoff homer to get things started for the Brewers. It's been a big year for him. Well, we talked about it. The Brewers may be on a search and presumably should be on a search for pitching over the winter. This guy may be some bait for them. Foul back, strike 1. Even though he has had an outstanding year, that sometimes is the reason a team would dangle a player. He's hit 27 homers, best among all leadoff hitters in the majors. Driven in more runs than any other leadoff man. He has scored more runs, 97 now, including the one he scored earlier. And he's first in total bases. So he might bring some pitching. Ground ball up the right field line. And now he takes the turn and heads for second. Hunter Pence spins and throws. And it's cut off on a double by Weeks, his 30th double of the year.
And visions of cycle dancing in his head, I'd imagine, at this point. Leadoff double. Second at bat comes here in the top of the second. He whacks a double down the right field line. So full power to left center for the home run. And now the ability to shoot this fastball the other way, just to beat it on the ground. Past Brett Wallace for a leadoff, or excuse me, a one-out double. What's Weeks' his contract situation?
I'm not sure. We're going to have to check on that, but they have a youngster named Brett Laurie, who's a high draft pick, who's considered to be close to Major League ready for next year. He's a second baseman. Corey Hart takes strike one. Hart doubled to right center in the first and rode home on the Braun 2-run blast. And the other chip, of course, for a trade would be Prince Fielder, who has 1 year left on his contract, and the Brewers have tried to extend him, and that has not worked out. So it seems that he would prefer free agency, based on the stories that have been written about that situation.
Yeah, they've been talking about that pretty much all year in Milwaukee. There was a lot of buzz around the trade deadline concerning Prince Fielder, and Doug Melvin, the general manager, said, well, you know what, I think position players do better as trade bait in the offseason than they do at the trade deadline. So all indications are that they're going to move the big guy.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Corey Hart. It's going to be tough for them, though. They've developed all these players. Weeks, Hart, Braun, Fielder.
Yeah, you have to take the emotion out of it, don't you? Because the tendency to want to hang on to all these kids you drafted and brought to the big leagues, and they've made Prince an offer that they wanted to keep him. And he's got a chance to back up the truck and make bundles of money.
Sanchez charges the grounder, goes out hard. Yeah, he does. Time now for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast, and Ryan Braun provided number 22 of the year.
First pitch breaking ball. Happ tries to get the jump on him, and Braun jumped all over it as if he were looking for it. Now, if they trade Fielder, who's Braun going to shadow box with? It's going to be a problem.
It will be a problem. Well, Braun typically has been over 30 home runs a season in his first 3 major league years. 22 right now by virtue of that one he hit earlier today.
That kind of stuff used to get you a fastball up around the coconut.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore. Pitchers take less umbrage now than they used to. I'm just envisioning a scenario where Nolan was on the mound and he looked over and he saw a couple of players doing that little boxing routine after a home run.
That might rate a bow tie. We're not talking Costa either. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, Braun now with 3 home runs against the Astros this year has hit 17 long balls in his career against Houston. Hit 6 of them in 2008 alone. And Braun's down on strikes. It's no runs, a hit. A runner stranded at third. Brewers 3, Astros nothing. Milwaukee 3, Houston nothing. The youngsters going to work there on some peanuts and other items like that. And they hope the Astros will go to work with the bats on Dave Bush. What's that?
That's the Peppy Bunch. Peppy Bunch is in the house.
Okay. They're watching Carlos Lee. 245, 21 homers, 84 runs batted in for El Caballo. There's strike one. Well, they took the effort to have T-shirts made up and everything.
We'll have to keep an eye on them. If the Astros get something going, we'll find out just how peppy they really are. Doesn't seem all that peppy with that shot.
Well, 1 ball, 1 strike. Hasn't been a very peppy start by the home team so far.
Maybe Pepe's a player or somebody they know, that they're just a fan club.
Could very well be. Bush with the slider. Goes to a 2-1 count. Carlos is third in the majors in runs batted in his last 44 games. They're watching. They're ready to be pepped up. Line drive goes foul into the seats again. 2-2.
It's a nice day to come to the ballpark. Gather the friends together.
Especially for her. Dad's got the Astros shirt on and everything. She got a foul ball. In tight to Carlos. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Bush has to do his due diligence inside. He likes to get you out with that breaking ball away if you're a right-handed hitter. So he's got to push you off the plate with that fastball up and in from time to time.
It's in tight. Carlos fouls it. Last start for Bush was a loss, 4-0 to the Cubs. Gave up 1 earned run in 5 2/3. That was in that previous series when the Brewers were shut out twice by Chicago, and then the Brewers got a shutout win of their own by Giovanni Gallardo in the final game.
I don't know if it's intentional or not. Based on where LaCroix is set up, it looks like he's trying to go away, but those fastballs are running in on Lee. It's important for a pitcher to obviously not be predictable, and you have to make sure you change patterns, not just in terms of fastball and coming off your fastball, but your fastball location. That's why you'll hear pitchers talk about doubling up inside, because a lot of times you'll come hard in and then the hitter will anticipate you're going to try to go away after that. Every now and then you're going to follow up that inside fastball with another one.
No, a lot of hitters will tell you they don't see too much of that anymore in the big leagues. 8-pitch at bat for Carlos, so that would be a good tactic. Carlos puts it in the air, and Ricky Weeks pursues it out into right center field. 1 out. Chris Johnson comes up next. Brad Mills was talking today about Chris Johnson, and remember when he was hitting 7th earlier this year, Brad was getting the questions from the media about moving him up in the order, and he said, I don't want to do that quite yet, but now he has. He's moved him up to 5th, and it's been a good transition to that RBI spot in the lineup.
Now, I think CJ just forced his hand. He stayed so hot for so long. Millsy said, well, I got to get this guy up there in more of an RBI slot. Take advantage of that hot bat.
Certainly worked out again last night as he hit the 3-run homer. There's strike 1. 320 batting average. Has a .496 slugging percentage right now, and he is 7 for 9 against Bush. Chris has had a couple of 3 for 3 games against Bush. One of those here in Houston, July 31st. The other one was in Milwaukee at the end of June. One and 2. 320 batting average is second among National League rookies. He's really stepped in and shown that he can be a run producer at third base, as well as just hit for average. Has 9 runs batted in his last 7 games with 3 homers. Grounded at third. McGee across the fielder, and that's 5 straight retired by Bush. There's a look at the NL Central with first place Cincinnati opening a series here Friday night. The Reds will play at home tomorrow afternoon, by the way. They have a 7-game lead on St. Louis.
17 games to play for the Cincinnati ball club. Cardinals have a couple more than that.
Brett Wallace brings a 4-game hitting streak into this one. Taking ball 1. He begins the day at .227. He has 2 homers. He's driven in 10 runs. Has 6 hits and 13 at-bats over the last 4 games. Turns on that one. That looked like a cutter. 1-1 to Wallace. Cut right down to those folks.
I think we got a bruise.
Well, we might have a bruise
there. Hey, try it again.
Speaking of bruises, Bud Norris took one off the left shin last night. Pitched well after that one in the beginning of the ball game. First batter, Joe Inglet, hit the ball off his left shin, and he stayed in, went 7 1/3. Pitched very well, giving up 3 hits and a run.
Got a knock, made some plays defensively.
Yeah.
All around good game for David Budd.
David Bush is off to a nice start himself. He's retired 6 in a row and has a 3-0 lead. Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, by AT&T, and by Comcast. The bayous around the downtown Houston area on this warm, sunny day. It's 3-0 Brewers. The 3rd inning begins with Prince Fielder batting. He walked earlier. And that's strike 1 to Prince.
Plenty of good seats remain if you're watching the game in your car. Swing on by the ballpark and take in a little MLB action.
Wheeler chops one to shortstop. Sanchez positioned well. Takes care of out number 1. AT HOU trying to make a comeback from that 3-run Brewer first, and that's the whole idea for a starting pitcher. There's a look at the NL Central at the All-Star break. The Reds had a 1-game lead on the Cardinals. The Brewers were in 3rd. The Astros were 4 behind the Brewers. How things have changed. Bring you up to date and show you the Astros now 3.5 in front of the Brewers in 3rd.
Good to know you can rely on the Pirates to hold up their end of the deal. And at the All-Star break, the Astros probably the biggest concern was not being run down by the Pirates. They didn't have that big of a lead over the last place club, but the Astros have really turned things around. Pittsburgh having a historically bad season in terms of their road record, one of the worst ever.
No balls, 2 strikes. I would think Pirates would play well away from home.
You would think they'd be out there swashbuckling around, but it's not been the case.
15 and 57. 1-2. Larry Durker will be joining us Sunday to talk about the Astros Alumni Golf Classic. That'll be Tuesday, November 16th at Wildcat. Upstairs, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a lot of the Astros alumni will be out here Sunday signing autographs from 12 to 2. In the dirt, it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Gomez on deck. Not much action today in the majors so far. Washington is winning at Atlanta 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Braves 2 games behind the Phillies in the NL East. Popped up. Sanchez drifting back and calling. 2 down. Our Jack in the Box standings will show you the modern day worst road records. The 45 A's with 13 and 63. 39 Phillies won 16. 63 Mets with 17 and 18 the year before. Wow.
They were lovable.
Yeah, they were. Well, there are the Pirates at the Mets tonight.
And they were brand new. Pirates don't have that excuse.
No. Gomez looks at ball 1. He singled up the middle in the first inning. The Brewers are 28 and 55 at Minute Maid Park. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Gomez got base hit up the middle last time up, but he's pulled off some of these fastballs away. He may have visions of trying to pop one into the Crawford boxes himself. Whoop, careful now.
Carlos Lee backing and left. It looked like it might be a threat coming off the bat, but instead it's a routine 3rd out. It's 5 straight, sat down by a half. Milwaukee 3, Houston nothing in the 3rd. Park, the Astros looking for their first base runner. AT&T has trivia question for us. Who led the 2003 Detroit Tigers in wins? That was a very rough year for Detroit.
Denny McClain.
No, it wasn't Denny McClain. It wasn't Brian Moeller.
Mike Maroff.
Boy, you know, that might be right. It was about his era with them, wasn't it? Didn't he lose 19 one year?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mike Maroff.
Jeremy Bonderman, was he there then?
Might have been there. Might have been a little bit before his time. Well, we'll all find out together when we get the answer. Angel Sanchez, the batter.
This is 2010, huh? That's 7 years ago. Doesn't seem like that long ago.
Who does? Sanchez looks at strike one. Why do batters take the first pitch when it's a fastball right down the middle? We had that question on the pregame show.
Well, and there are times you can question that. Because, as I mentioned in the pregame show, that when the first pitch is put in play, hitters tend to hit for a very high average. As a matter of fact, when the first pitch is put in play against Dave Bush, hitters are hitting .403. So, his goal is to try to get ahead of you, and he's willing, apparently, to give in. They throw that ball over the plate without nibbling to get ahead of you, and then he'll go to work on you. But if you continually attack that first pitch, you're setting yourself up for some quick innings, too.
3-1 to Sanchez. Well, he took the first one, but now he's still ahead in the count.
And it depends on what kind of hitter you are. Most hitters like to try to work their way into a real hitter's count where they can sit on a given pitch.
And this one goes in the air to left. Ryan Braun waiting. Sanchez on an 8-game hitting streak, a career high for him, makes out number one. Let's see the answer now to AT&T's trivia question about the leading winner for the Tigers in 03. Mike Maroff, you got it with 9.
Wow, 9.
I believe he was 9 and 19 that year. Now so Jason Castro.
He either had a really good year or a really bad year, depending on your point of view.
Yeah.
The glass is half full kind of guy. Hey, I led the club in wins.
Castro at 219 with 2 homers has driven in 7. Humberto Quintero has caught the first couple of games of this series. Jason takes ball 1. Jason 3 for 9 with an RBI in the Dodgers series. To get to those numbers for the season. Happ is on deck. Bush delivers and he's even in the count at 1-1. Now 2 balls and a strike. That Washington-Atlanta game is in the top of the 9th now with the Nationals batting up 4-2. Justin Maxwell hit his 3rd homer for them. Adam Dunn hit a bomb last night onto the concourse in right center field. To left field. Braun in for this. 2 down. It's 8 straight retired by Bush, and it's Jay Happ coming up.
6 of those 8 coming in the air. 1 strikeout, 1 ground ball, but a lot of lazy fly balls. Castro, he's got to spend some time with the swing doctor. He gets kind of tied up. What adjustments can be made, but the good thing is he's a smart kid and willing to learn. I think he'll be able to make some adjustments.
Right to Happ. Happ is 0 for 21. Bush has 1 ground out, 6 in the air, and 1 strikeout. He is cruising.
It's very difficult for a young player to come to the big leagues for the very first time and try to make adjustments on the fly. We've seen it with Brett Wallace with some of his struggles. He's starting to show the ability to get on that pitch in on him a little bit. Jason could probably use some work with his swing, but very difficult to do right now. Something for the off season. Retool the swing a little bit.
That's why this first major league year can really be a learning experience for many guys.
Yeah, you can get fooled both ways by young players late in the year. You can see guys really, really good and think, hey, we got something here. But as the league starts to learn about him and make adjustments, can that player then make the necessary adjustments? And conversely, you see guys struggle and you think, oh, they're not any good. And the next year, they're lighting it up.
Dave Bush is lining it up right now. He's perfect through 3 and leads 3-0. 3-0 Milwaukee, top of the fourth inning, a moment away on this date in 1985. Glenn Davis homers in a 2-1 victory over San Diego. Jose Cruz reaches a milestone with the 2,000th hit of his career. And off the field, Joe Niekro is traded to the New York Yankees for JD and 2 other prospects. Thanks to AstrosDaily.com. Do you celebrate the anniversary of your trade by drinking water?
I do. I wasn't even aware of it until Oops told me about it before the game today. Oh, that's a terrible trade. You trade a franchise icon for some coming left-hander? What a joke. Who made that deal?
Well, it was Al Rosen, right?
Well, actually, it was Al Rosen started the deal, and then he got fired and replaced by Dick Wagner.
Yeah.
And Wags finished the deal.
Wow, that's interesting. Bunted foul by Escobar. He struck out in the first inning. A 2 general manager trade with the same club.
Wow.
No balls, 2 strikes. Haven't heard of that too often. I'm sure it's happened many times, though.
And you would think that the second general manager would have been smart enough not to follow through with it if the first guy got fired.
It worked out very well. It's 1-2. By the way, sorry to hear about the passing of our friend Al Lamacchia. And a truly great baseball man, a tremendous scout over the years.
9 decades in professional baseball for Al Lamacchia.
Strikeout for Jay Happ. That's number 4 for Jay.
Still active as a scout. So right before he got sick and pitched back in the 40s. And he will be missed. Just a great storyteller. Loved the game.
He was.
But you talk about a guy who got every ounce out of life.
Yeah. Jonathan Lucroy is the batter. He's grounded out back to Jay Happ. First time up. There's strike 1 to him. Happ had thrown 10 of 15 first pitch strikes coming into this inning. Settling down now after that 3-run first. It was homer, double, homer, and walk for the first 4 batters. That's rolled to Brett Wallace's left. And the toss to Happ takes care of out number 2. Bringing up Dave Bush.
Yeah, now the challenge now is for the Astros to get something going against Bush. We said at the time, while you're down 3-0, you're not overly concerned because Dave Bush isn't, Varney Gallardo. He's not a top of the rotation type guy. You feel like you should be able to get some work done against him, but he's been perfect so far.
Bush struck out looking in the second inning. At Wake Forest, he was a catcher and a closer. Strike 1 to Dave.
Not at the same time.
No.
Only Bugs Bunny is that good.
Well, 41 pitches in the first inning and only 74 now as Jay has managed to stay in this game.
I think if he could get you through 6 and keep the Brewers right there, that would be a very credible job.
Yeah. Day off coming tomorrow for those worn-out Astro relievers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. John Lannon started for Washington today, and Atlanta gave up 2 runs in 6 innings. Against Mike Minor, who surrendered 4 runs in 5 innings for the Braves. In tight to Bush. That makes it 2-2.
Costly loss for Atlanta, boy. And they've been so good at home this year.
Yeah. (52-22).
Phillies playing very good baseball right now. Their pitching has been outstanding. Not a good time for the Bravos to go into a little bit of a funk.
Yeah, if the playoffs started right now, the Phillies might be the favorites overall. Those 3 starting pitchers they would lead with. Strikeout looking. That's number 5. And Happ keeps it at 3-0 after 3.5. fell short by about 12 rows last time I tried. No.
Yeah, one thing we're doing on our live chat today is I've got 4 polls out about 4 of the starting pitchers, how many games fans think they're going to win next year. Right now, we're not winning the pennant yet. Of course, we don't know who the 5th starter is going to be for sure, but we're using the 4 that we now have penciled in, and the fans are being cautiously optimistic, I would say. But we are live chatting. You can join us by going through the FoxSportsHouston.com website anytime on Wednesdays. Back to you guys.
Who are they predicting to be the leading winner for next year's club?
It's Myers, but, they're saying the majority of them say 17 to 20 tops. Well, no, I'm sorry, 13 to 15 tops. I think he needs more than that.
Okay.
Well, somebody's got to win more than that. Well, if that's the leading pitcher, because you're going to have a really good, solid 4 or 5 guys that are all the same.
Well, I think that's to me, when you look at this rotation next year, that's kind of the way I see it, as a pretty balanced rotation where you have 3 or 4 guys capable of being 15-game winners. That's not to say they all will be, and it's not to say that anybody couldn't take off and have a great year. But if you could average 15 wins out of 4 guys,
you get 60 wins. Yeah, if you could do that, you'd be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. The bullpen wins 30.
There you go, right there. Pennant next year.
That's the formula.
Book it. Back to you guys.
That was easy.
Yeah, it's done.
We got to figure it out.
Well, we just got the schedule for next year last night, so we might as well book the wins and losses now that we've got the schedule.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be a rough start, but
just fast forward ahead to 2012.
Only one of those 10-game, 3-day road trips, 3-city road trips. That's good.
That's very good. There's been a few too many of those this year. Michael Bourne with a 2-2 pitch down on strikes. That's number 3 in the strikeout category for Dave Bush. Now Jeff Keppinger bats.
And now the Astros would settle for a hard out. 10 up, 10 down for Mr. Bush.
Keppinger, yeah, he is in his zone. Keppinger was behind 0-2 in the count. He made contact but hit a fly ball to center. Jeff, a .310 career hitter against Milwaukee. Dave Bush, 30 years old, throws strike 1. 55 major league wins, 67 losses. Last year he was 5-9 with a 6.38 ERA. Second time through the order, about the same as the first. Third time a little better. 1 hopper to short. Escobar has the strong arm. 2 down. Absolutely nothing doing for the Astros here through 3 2/3. And it's Hunter Pence coming up.
Well, that's a pretty good indication of why he's been successful. Throwing strike 1, 9 to the first 11 batters he has faced. We've had that discussion earlier today about hitters and what their approach should be. Should they attack that first good pitch they see? And a lot of it depends on how aggressive a pitcher is. The key for me is getting ahead without giving in. Being able to pick a corner or throw a curveball when you think a hitter's looking for a fastball to get the jump on him.
Hunter Pence rolls to second. Ricky Weeks on to first. Perfect through 4 innings. Dave Bush threw only 10 pitches in the 4th. And it's 3-0 Milwaukee.
By 3 here in the 5th inning, and be sure to join the Astros for Dog Day presented by eBay Classifieds on Sunday when the Astros host the Reds at 105. For only $40, you get a bullpen box seat, and for you and your pooch, an Astros Dog Bowl, and you can also participate in all the great pregame events. Visit Astros.com/Dog Day for tickets today, guys.
We're still checking on your cat, Patty. We don't have an answer yet on that.
I think it's only fair.
All right, you're right. Brewers 3, Astros nothing. Jay Happ with strike 1 on Ricky Weeks, who has torched him with a leadoff homer and then added a double.
And Jay has retired 8 in a row since that double by Weeks in the second.
1-1. Looking at the ill-fated start for Jay in St. Louis when he gave up 4 in the first. He had 5 hits in that inning and a walk, and then he came out in the second, walked 2 and gave up a 3-run homer to Albert Pujols. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So that would be the major difference between that game and this. He was able to get hitters out in the second inning and stay in the game. He was gone after 1 inning plus in that one.
And in that game, you know, he just wasn't good. And today, even in that first inning when he was getting hit around, he was throwing the ball pretty well. Sometimes you just have to tip your hat to the opposing hitters. Yeah, nice job, fellas. You hit some pretty good pitches.
2-2 to Weeks. Well, perhaps you could say the Brewers were due to explode. They have really had rough sledding offensively the last several games.
Tough to hold this club down consistently. Too much firepower.
Yep. Weeks looks at it, and it's 3-2 to Ricky. In his career now, he is 4 for 5 against Jay Happ. Jay went 5 innings in his last start against the Dodgers, giving up 1 run. Weeks takes a walk. That's the second of the day for Happ.
Not surprised to see him be a little cautious there with Weeks after his first 2 at-bats. Ran the counts full, tried to get him to chase a changeup down, and Weeks obviously seen the ball well today. And to lay off and work the walk. So the complete player, Ricky Weeks. Power, speed, high on base percentage.
Corey Hart takes strike 1. Hart had that double to right center in the first and grounded out in the second. Boston is at Seattle tonight. It'll be Clay Buchholz, a 15-game winner, going for the Red Sox. San Diego and Colorado just getting underway in the first. Jorge De La Rosa for the Rockies. 4 balls, 2 strikes. Padres have a 1.5 game lead on the Giants, 3.5 games up on the Rockies. Upstairs for a ball, and it's 1-2. The Phillies currently have the best winning percentage in the National League, .582. Yankees and Rays have been back and forth for the lead in the AL East the last few nights. Right now it's the Yankees on top, 607. Their winning percentage is the best in Major League Baseball right now. Clayton Richard gets the call for San Diego today in Colorado. Happ is working on Weeks, who has 10 steals in 14 tries. Brewers have 73 stolen bases in 95 attempts this year. Foul ball keeps the count at 1-2. Brewers went to the playoffs in 08. Last year they won 80. 66 wins right now. foul back into the crowd. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count with Ryan Braun on deck.
Interesting to compare Corey Hart's numbers with Hunter Pence's numbers. Very similar games for these two right fielders. Hart with a few more home runs and RBIs, but very similar.
Yeah, they are.
Well, both guys capable of stealing a bag.
Line drive left center field. That'll hit the alley and go to the wall. Weeks around third. He's going to be sent home by Brad Fisher. Here's Sanchez with a relay. It's cut off. 4-0 Milwaukee on the RBI double by Hart. Second two-base hit of the game. That's his 91st run batted in, and he now has 31 doubles.
Happ able to hold these Brewers at bay. After that first, until this point, we'll show you Corey Hart's at bat, pitch by pitch. Good heater at the benefit of the doubt. Then got the jump on him 0-2 with a high heater. Tried it one more time up there. Hart spoils a good changeup. Fights off a high heater. It's another changeup down and away, and reaches out and yanks it into the left center alley. So again, not bad pitches by Happ there, just good hitting. Worked him hard up and in with a couple of fastballs, then came soft away. And Hart able to reach out and get it and yank it with authority.
A couple of two-base hits for Corey today, and the Brewers have 2 homers and 3 doubles for 5 of their 6 hits. Ryan Braun hit their second home run of the game. That was a 2-run shot in the first. There's ball 1 to him.
There are some days as a pitcher you'll be sitting in the clubhouse with an ice bag on your arm and you pitch 7 1/3 of 1-run baseball and you're going, I don't know how I got away with that today. Because you went out there with absolutely nothing. And there are other days where you feel pretty good and you feel like your command's pretty good and you're sitting there in the 4th inning having given up a 6th spot going, what happened? The game is so fickle. The results don't always mirror the effort or your stuff or your command.
Big 2-0 pitch coming to Braun here. He'll be sitting on a fastball.
If you could just get points for throwing good pitches to good spots, it'd be a different game. But there's a guy with a stick in his hand in between you and the catcher. It changes the dynamics a fair bit.
Henry Villar's warming up for the Astros. He has malicious thoughts.
Henry does?
No, the guy with the stick in his hand. Between you and the catcher.
Yeah, he does. He's trying to ruin your day.
Henry might have some too. Wrong. Went fishing for that, and it's 2-2. I don't think that's a real good approach to a 2-1 pitch, but sometimes you get up there and you want to hit, and that was a change up, and he kind of lunged at it, JD.
Well, he's got an RBI situation. Yeah. And even the best hitters sometimes fall prey to that. You got a guy out there in a scoring position. They know they get paid to drive in runs.
Yep.
I'll make look at that baseball card on the back of the card look a little better.
That was a better pitch to swing at, but it gets underneath it. Fly ball. Sanchez way out in front of Carlos Lee. Goes back into second. 1 out. Hill went pretty far out. He's talking to Michael Bourne about that. The arms folded crowd.
That's not the peppy bunch.
No. Pretty quiet group so far.
There's not a lot of buzz in the ballpark here this afternoon.
No.
You need a little Astro rally to get them fired up.
Rich Fielder shoots one to left field. That's an RBI single. Corey Hart coming in to make it 5-0 as Fielder goes the other way and drives in his 75th of the year. Catching up in the RBI column to his normal neighborhood after hitting a lot of unproductive homers earlier this season without many runs batted in.
Well, let's see a little breaking ball moving down and away. Again, not a bad pitch. Just a good approach here by Fielder, willing to shoot it the other way. The ball had some backspin on it because it really checked up when it got out there, and Carlos came hard thinking that perhaps Prince would try for 2. Sometimes it's just not your day.
Brad Mills is at the mound. Henry Villar is coming in. This was not Jay Happ's day. He knew it from the first batter, Ricky Weeks. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Leaves after surrendering 7 hits and 5 runs. And fielder at first belongs to him as well with a score. Brewers 5, Astros nothing. We'll step aside for this. Rookie right-hander Henry Villar takes over with a runner at first. Prince Fielder 1 out and a 5-0 lead for Milwaukee. Top of the 5th inning as Villar works. Casey McGee's in the box. He takes strike 1. McGee is 0 for 2 in this game.
Astros have not had a starting pitcher lose a game in 15 ball games. A lot of work to turn that around today. Jay Happ on the wrong end of this one. Villar working for his 3rd time as a major leaguer.
Ball 1 strike. Henry has an ERA of 0. No walks, 2 strikeouts for his first 2 games. Happ had 6 full counts. Upstairs for a ball. McGee leaning back with a 2-1 count now. Villar worked Monday against Milwaukee, 2/3 of an inning. He allowed a hit and no runs. Had a strikeout. And the Astros 4-2 win.
That's his pitch right there.
Great.
Yeah. Split finger pitch or whatever it is, he throws about 84, 85 miles an hour and has great downward action.
"23 years old from the Dominican.
Here comes again.
Ground ball hit through the left side, and McGee advances Fielder to second base.
And stayed up a little bit.
8 hits now for the Brewers in the game.
Got him to hit the ball on the ground, but hit it hard and no chance for anybody to make a play on it. Double play still in order. Gomez, tough man to double, runs quite well. Got to pinch a little bit at third base on him too. He likes to bunt.
Gomez singled up the middle in the first, hit a fly ball to left his second time up. Looping liner to right field. That'll drop in for a hit. Fielder gets a stop sign at third. The bases are loaded on the single by Gomez. Now Escobar bats with the bases loaded and 1 down.
He's been pulling off some fastballs here. It's a slider away, and he stays in there long enough to put the end of the bat on it and just poke a little dying quail out there into shallow right field.
Escobar 5 for 18 in his career with the bases loaded.
Another guy that can really scoot.
He taps that one foul, third base side. Five runs on 9 hits for Milwaukee. The Astros do not have a base runner through 4. Rockies and Padres have played a half an inning with no score. No balls, 2 strikes. Now Colorado has scored a run in the bottom of the first. The Rocky team's been at home for a while now. They are 50 and 24 at Coors Field. DR gets a swing and a miss, and Escobar's down on strikes. 2 outs. Let's go to Patty Smith.
Well, College Football Saturday continues this week on Fox Sports Houston, beginning with the kickoff show at 10:30 a.m. Then at 11, Iowa State faces Kansas State, followed by Air Force and number 7, Oklahoma at 2:30. Akron and Kentucky play at 6, and number 23 ranked Houston takes on UCLA at 9:30 p.m. And then we wrap up the entire day of action on Big 12 Live at 1 a.m. Check local listings for games in your area, Bill.
Thanks, Patty. Jonathan Lucroy looks at ball 1. He's grounded out both times today. Dave Bush, the pitcher, on deck with the bases loaded. A big weekend of college gridiron action. Foul straight back right above us.
What are the roots of that term, the gridiron?
Boy.
Does it have a military connotation?
I'm not sure. Sounds like it might. Well, a football field would be a grid. Not sure about the iron. That's a drive to left field. Carlos Lee, though, as it fades, will be there to catch it. And in the 5th inning, the Brewers add 2. They get 4 hits. They lead 3, and it's 5-0 Milwaukee.
Welcome back to Minute Maid Park. Brewers with a 5-run lead over the Astros. And on Friday, the Astros host the Reds at 7:05 on College Night. College students can enjoy pre- and post-game events in the 5-7 Grill with food and drink special for the first 200 students to the pregame event and receive a College Night t-shirt. Buy your tickets tonight at astros.com/college. Bill.
Thank you, Patty. Bottom of the 5th inning brings warm-up action with Felipe Paulino getting loose for the Astros, but they'll give him plenty of time to get ready. And they have Lee, Johnson, and Wallace due up, so the pitcher spot really not due to come up unless the Astros get something major going against Dave Bush. They've had absolutely nothing going against him through 4. He has retired the first 12 batters. Ball 1 to Carlos Lee, who popped the second. Carlos hits that one foul, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Jay Happ threw 97 pitches, 65 of them strikes. In 4 1/3 innings, he allowed 7 hits, 5 runs, walking 2, fanning 5. Bush has been something else. 57 pitches, 40 have been strikes. It's foul back, and it's 1-2.
Hey, look at that. There's Felipe Paulino.
Last game, June 20th.
And there's been a Paulino sighting.
And he probably is warming up more for the 7th inning than the 6th. We'll see. He's going to need time to get loose. Line shot to left. First base runner for the Astros comes from the former Brewer, Carlos Lee.
That'll get the Pepe bunch fired up.
Now, there can be some liveliness at Minute Maid Park.
This is officially a rally. Breaking ball that floated over the inside part of the plate. Carlos able to take advantage. And Dave Bush has been pretty sharp here, very sharp so far this afternoon. He will work from the stretch for the first time all day. Sometimes that can be a little problematic for a pitcher.
Chris Johnson hoping it is. Chris grounded out to third in the 2nd inning. Red Wallace on deck. And strike 1 to CJ. The last Houston starting pitcher to lose was Bud Norris on August 29th at New York. Johnson fouls it. It's a no-ball, 2-strike count. Washington down to Atlanta, 4-2 in Atlanta. John Lannon got that win. He's 8-7. Drew Storen got save number 4. Mike Minor, the loser, goes to 3-1. Justin Maxwell hit his 3rd homer.
Good try.
Sure was.
Look, LaCroix, I like the way he sets up behind the home plate. It's a nice small target to throw to.
He's catching all 3 games in this series, as you pointed out, even the day game after the night game. Two balls, 2 strikes. George Kotaris, a left-handed batter, does a fair amount of catching as well. There's that wild card race now. Braves 83-64, the Giants 81-64.
Dodgers got 1 hit last night and beat the Giants.
Clayton Kershaw dialed up a beauty. Up the middle and into center field. CJ, and that inside pitch got enough wood on it. And now it's 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Red Wallace comes up.
See Bush missing there, trying to go down and away, left it in. CJ able to push it up the middle for a base hit. Well, just keep that line moving. Somebody pop one. We got a new ball game.
Wallace would love to oblige. He struck out in the 2nd. It gets by Fielder, and now it's up the line. Here's Lee coming around to score. Johnson gets stopped at 3rd by Clark, and that is going to give the Astros an opening. It's now
5-1. 5-1, 2 in scoring position, nobody out. Prince Fielder coming up empty, trying to make a play. This ball pretty well struck by Brett Wallace, but boy, the big guy should have been able to make down there at first base.
draws his 3rd error of the year.
Yeah, well, I think he was trying to position himself where he could spin and make a throw to second base to get it out there. In so doing, got foot on the ball as opposed to glove.
Angel Sanchez has runners at second and third. Ground ball left side, and it sneaks by the third baseman. That's going to be an RBI single, and it's 5-2. Sanchez takes his career-high hitting streak to 9 games, picking up his 19th run batted in. Johnson scoring, and now runners at first and second with nobody out.
Well, a little of this, a little of that, and the next thing you know, you got a big inning on your hands. Sanchez just squirts this ball beyond the reach of McGee there at third base. Escobar makes a play on it, but has no play other than to corral it. Wallace not able to advance. So CJ reading that ball off the bat, and he sees McGee start to float to his left. So he takes off for home.
Excellent play by Escobar to keep it on the infield. Jason Castro's the batter. Brian Bogasevic is on deck. Pitcher spot due up next. Paulino in the bullpen. Castro hit a fly ball to left. Taking ball one. Brad Mills prepared to bring Paulino in now with Bogasevic getting ready. And the inning has progressed to the point that Paulino should have plenty of warm-up time to get loose. It's 2-0. The Astros had said that they would use Paulino with plenty of warm-up notice for him because he has not been in a game in so long. It would be more like a spring training type scenario that was a little more planned than spontaneous as far as using a reliever.
Strike to Bush. They get him up at the start of the inning, but the pitcher's spot due up 6, knowing that if they get there, they would have had a nice long inning and you would have had plenty of time to get ready.
Paulino take time to get ready. Evan Sales, and it's 3 balls and a strike to Castro. Omar Infante today for Atlanta went 1 for 3. He's hitting .340. Doesn't have enough plate appearances to qualify for the batting title, but that's the same average Carlos Gonzalez has, and he leads the league at .340. Inside, ball 4, loads the bases for the pinch hitter Bogasevic. Still nobody out.
Dave Bush, this is a nightmare of an inning for him after starting the game perfect through 4 innings. Starts harmlessly enough, leadoff single by Lee, but then Johnson follows with a knock. Fielder can't make a play. Sanchez finds a hole. Excuse me. Castro draws the walk.
Now Bogasevic, the pinch hitter for VR, is 1 for 8 as a major leaguer. He looks for his first RBI. 71 pitches for Bush. And Rick Peterson, the pitching coach, comes out. Bogasevic 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter. Left-handed hitter who runs well. Michael Bourne is on deck. Cameron Lowe is warming up for Milwaukee. This would buy some time for him. The Brewers did bat for a long time in the top of the inning, sending 8 men to the plate. Now Bush has run into immediate problems in the bottom half after that long time away from the mound as Wallace, Sanchez, and Castro aboard. And Bogasevic can really strike a big blow for the Houston cause here.
So much of athletics is mental. And you see a pitcher in a situation like this, it kind of reminds me of a goaltender in hockey who's just saving everything, on top of his game. Then he lets in a cheap goal, and you can almost see in the body language and everything, you see the confidence start to erode a little bit.
Strike 1 for Bush.
And sometimes I wonder if that's what the guy is really feeling or if you're just kind of projecting that on him. But anyway, Bush does not have the answers here in the 5th that he's had all afternoon up until this point.
Bogusevic hit .277 at Round Rock. He had 13 homers, 57 runs batted in. 0-2. Bogusevic, a first-round pick as a pitcher in 05 from Tulane. Then he converted to outfielder in July of 08. Looking for some contact here at 0-2 in the count. Taking the ball. Ryan's 0 for 2 on this homestand. Got his first major league hit, and it was a double into the swimming pool on one bounce in Arizona. Now it's 2-2. And this is one of the really difficult chores for a young player coming to the big leagues, not having pinch hit much, and trying to learn that art. There's Wallace at third, Sanchez and Castro behind him. Fouled away. I was watching him last few days in the batting cage. Really has an unusual stance there, JD. It looks very stiff. There's the bat almost parallel with the ground, just a straight back. And it's interesting to watch the different approaches to hitting.
A little Aaron Rowand-esque.
Yeah, good comparison. Way up. Now 3-2 to Bogusevic after he was down 0-2.
The key here now is not to get too jumpy. It's a young hitter, any hitter, but a young hitter, I guess, probably more so RBI situation. You can talk yourself into thinking you're going to get a real good pitch to hit in this situation, and there's no guarantee you will. You have to make sure you get a strike.
Big pitch in this game. Bogusevic lines run to center field. That'll score Wallace. Sanchez behind him. Throw goes into third. It's a one-run lead. A pinch two-run single for Bogusevic. First major league runs batted in. What a great at bat.
Well, Bush ultimately does come in an 86-mile-an-hour fastball right there for him, and a good swing of the bat by Brian Bogusevic. And just like that, the Astros within one, still nobody out in the inning.
And now it's Michael Bourne. He's flied to left, and he is struck out. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Fielders in on the grass, as is McGee, looking for a Bourne bunt here. Keppinger on deck. Bourne swinging, and he hits a one-hopper. Fielder goes to second, gets the force play there, and that's all. And it's first and third one now.
Well, Prince able to get Bogusevic there at second base, but it may not be long before there's another man in scoring position. I wouldn't be surprised to see Michael Bourne take off early here in this at-bat and try to steal that bag. Bogusevic coming in hard, making sure there's no double play.
Bourne with 50 steals in 62 attempts. Looking in as Keppinger gets set. He's 0 for 2.
Bush still 2 outs away from qualifying for the win in this game. He has to finish this inning.
Hunter Pence on deck. Bourne measures a lead. Ball 1. Keppinger is the 8th Astro to bat in the inning after the Brewers paraded 8 men to the plate in the top of the 5th. Switch at third and then at first. Dave with 7 wins, 12 losses at 4.59 ERA. Was breezing along with a 5-0 lead. Was perfect through 4. Michael Bourne's 50 of 62. Luke Roy's thrown out 14 of 46. Could set the stage for a Bourne steal attempt. Not going, and it's a strike. Brewers are 10-18 when Bush is their starting pitcher. He leads the club in quality starts with 17. The error by Fielder has really complicated the inning quite a bit. There have also been 4 Houston hits and a walk along the way.
Bush got really good range. Goes to his right off that mound quite well.
Milwaukee thundered away with a powerful 3-run first, adding 2 at the top of the 5th, and now it's a 1-run lead.
Jason Castro scores in this inning. A HOU will be off the hook. Nobody would be more surprised than Jay. The way Bush was going along, I'm sure when he came out of this game, he's thinking, well, there's an L. Bush paying a lot of attention to Michael Bourne, as he should.
It's been a crazy story for these 2 starting pitchers. They're really focused on Michael Bourne at first base.
Try not to let on as a pitcher. You're not supposed to cheer in these situations. But inside, he's got the pom-poms going. Get me off that hook.
Bourne's going, and no throw. He steals it. His 51st.
Now, a lot of times the team won't even bother throwing through in a situation like this for fear of an errant throw and a cheap run allowed. If you feel like you got very little chance of throwing out Michael Bourne anyway, why take a shot? Situation there where LaCroix just saw Bourne's jump, saw where he was, and thought, I'm probably not going to throw him out. I'll just hang on to it.
Second in the majors to Juan Pierre in steals. First Astro since Cesar Cedeno to have consecutive seasons of 50 or more. Now 2-1. A Keppinger hit placed in the right spot gives the Astros a lead.
And because of that, the infield in the middle stays back. Fielder is off the line and in at first base. A ground ball to third or short will get one home, and a base hit just about anywhere should score Bourne as long as it's not an infield hit.
Bush's 5th start against the Astros this year. Tap to third, but foul. Clark comes up with it. This will be the 30th pitch of the inning for Bush.
Came into this inning having thrown only 50-some. Very deliberate now with these men on.
Keppinger has been a tough battler all season long in these types of situations. Fouls that one away. He's only struck out 31 times. That's in 457 at bats. So he can make the pitcher expend a lot of energy. And he can also drive in runs. He's driven in 53, hitting in a variety of spots on the lineup. Fly ball left field over shortstop. That will dunk in for a hit. 1 run will score. Michael Bourne stopped halfway, and it's a tie game. 5-5. Keppinger with an RBI single. His 54th run batted in. If Michael had read it properly, he could have scored, but he stopped about 2/3 of the way.
Yeah, he did read it properly, and then he reread it because he gets a great break on this ball, and he was going to score it easily. And you'll see it here. A little soft fly ball in the left field. Michael's 3/4 away. You might as well keep going. If they catch it now, you're doubled off anyway. Just a little bit of a brain cramp there.
And Dave Bush has blown a 5-0 lead. Keppinger has brought the Astros back to a tie, 5-5. Back in a moment.
I didn't see Clarkie do anything.
He was kind of starting to do something. Milwaukee 5, Houston 5, bottom of the 5th, 1 out. The Astros have roared back with a 5-run frame to tie it. They KO'd Dave Bush. And now Craig Counsell comes in a double switch. He's at shortstop. He's batting ninth. Cameron Lowe, the relief pitcher, is in the 7th spot with Escobar leaving the game after striking out 3 times.
Well, Cameron Lowe, the big right-hander, is 3-4 with a 2.74 ERA. He gets very good sink on his fastball. Good double play guy. That's what Ken Maka has in mind, I'm sure, bringing him out of the pen to face Hunter with a man on first and third. And to get that double play and get out of Dodge. Being ambushed here by the Astros in the bottom half of the 5th.
Well, they can't get out of Texas with a win if they don't pull this one off. 0-5 at Minute Maid Park. Hunter Pence is 0 for 2. Fly ball to right, ground ball to second. 1 out. He's in the corners. Ball 1. We'll have to see if Milwaukee play the Rangers this year. In Arlington, probably not. But they'll probably win this for Texas this season. Well, they played them at home. Lost 2 out of 3. Up the middle, and the Astros have the lead. Hunter Pence with an RBI single. That makes it 6-5. The 9th man to bat in the inning. Hunter Pence drives in his 85th to take over the club lead. Michael Bourne scoring the go-ahead run.
How about that? So Happ off the hook. Henry VR now. The chance for his first major league win. A lot of baseball to be played yet, though. It's 6-5. We're in the 5th inning. Lowe tries to go in on Hunter. That didn't work. Out of the way and down, and Hunter liked that one enough. Shoots it right back through the middle. Michael trots home. And here comes El Caballo with an RBI opportunity.
He led off the inning with a single to left and became the first Houston base runner after 4 perfect frames by Bush. Oh, again misses in as he did in the first pitch to Pence, and it's ball 1. One out. Chris Johnson on deck.
6 runs on 6 hits. All singles, not one extra base hit. And normally when you see this kind of an uprising, you figure someone knocked one out of the ballpark. Maybe that's coming.
Oh, what a swing. He was trying to oblige you.
Yeah.
He put everything into that swing. It's a 26-minute half inning so far. Time of possession very good for the Astros.
Yeah.
They don't want the defensive team, though, to get stiff by sitting down on the sidelines too long. Plenty of warm-up time. Now Paulino's back up and throwing again. Jamie Quirk working with him.
Yeah, well, we better keep scoring here for Henry, because Astros don't score for Paulino. So once he comes in, they'll shut it down.
Mike McClendon is warming up for Milwaukee. Brewer bullpen has a 4.70 ERA with 21 wins, 26 losses. To third. Here's the throw by McGee to second. Weeks will throw late to first, and he gets the double play. And that takes care of the fifth inning, but the Astros parade 10 men to the plate. And they come up with a 6 spot. 6 runs on 5 hits. A costly first fielder error. And a man left, and it's 6-5 Astros.
And welcome back. The Astros with a 6-5 lead over the Brewers. There's a switch. Be sure to catch all the action of the 2010 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox and TBS. The excitement begins October 6th with the Division Series on TBS. Bill?
Thanks, Patty. Look forward to that. And what a turnaround in this game. Felipe Paulino is pitching in a Major League game for the first time since June 20th. He brings a 1-8 record to the mound and a 4.40 ERA.
Felipe out with tendonitis in his pitching shoulder. His first action in a good long while.
Craig Counsell leads it off. He's in the 9 spot now. He came in the double switch last inning, and he takes ball 1. Counsell at 246 with 1 homer, has 16 runs batted in. Craig's had 183 at bats.
Paulino able to throw a couple of simulated games as he worked his way back to the active roster. He's went pretty well, so they've activated him. And Brad Mills wanted to get him in a game or two between now and the end of the season, so he finds himself not only in a game, but in a very tight game.
Throws a strike to Counsell to make it 2-1. Henry VR in 2/3 of an inning allowed 2 hits, no runs. He had no walks, 1 strikeout. Dave Bush went 4 to third. He allowed 5 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned, walking 1, fanning 3. It's 3-1. Bush threw 86 pitches, 58 for strikes. Counsell is 0 for 8 against the Astros this year. He draws a leadoff walk.
I'm a little curious that they threw a 2-1 changeup to Counsell there. I figure with Paulino being out there for the first time in a while, they try to just establish command of the strike zone with the fastball against a guy like Counsell, who's not a dangerous hitter.
The Coors Light 6th inning will show you the Coors Light freeze cam. Ricky Weeks led off this game with a home run. His 8th leadoff homer of the year. The Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by the Frost Brewed Coors Light.
That last little clip was interesting because you could really see his hands come through with that swing. And that's the thing about Ricky Weeks. He has such strong hands. We used to talk about Hank Aaron, how strong his wrists were. Gary Sheffield, who Weeks reminds me of the way he waggles that bat and has that explosive swing. And some guys, you shake their hand and you go, this guy must be a good hitter. They just have that grip.
In that case, J.R. Richards should have been a great hitter. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Paulino. There's got to be a lot of rust on him, not having pitched in months now.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say that a strong grip or strong hands implies that you're going to be a good hitter. But if you've got weak hands, you're not going to be a good hitter through.
Jim Burdack and Mark Melanson are warming up. Bouncer shortstop. Sanchez to his right. Throws back to second. That's all. 1 out. I think Paulino will be on a pretty short leash here because you just don't know what to expect. He's been out so long, JD.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their thinking is with Paulino. You know, the wild card in all this, if that's the right term, is that the Astros aren't in a pennant race. So they're trying to win games. But I think when you bring a guy like Paulino off the shelf, you're thinking more in terms of just seeing what he's got and giving him an opportunity to pitch.
Get to Greg Lucas in a moment. Corey Hart's the batter. He has a pair of doubles. He's scored 2 and driven in 1.
Put it this way, if the Astros were 3 games out of a playoff spot right now, Felipe Paulino would not be pitching in a 1-run game for the first time in 3 months.
That's right. Greg, we'll go to you.
Well, we got a lot of internet reaction to that. Some of them are Paulino backers. Some of them are not. We've got people that have really come out of the woodwork since the rally started. It's gotten very busy. Phil Myers is with us. You may recognize that last name. That's Brett's dad. He's watching down in Jacksonville, Florida. But we got a lot of our regulars like Steve and Robert and a couple people who don't have names. They just put guest on here.
Okay.
But we've got a lot of our regular live chatters who are really fired up about the way this club has played the latter part of the season, and particularly today being a perfect example.
Yes, it is.
Never give up.
No, they have not done that. They play hard.
I bet you Phil's got Brett down for 20 wins next year.
Yeah, we'll hear from Phil on that.
I'm sure he was on the poll, yes.
2 balls and a strike.
Phil, Brett's dad, is a boxing trainer. I don't know if he still is or not, but I know he was. He used to train fighters.
I trained Brett for a while there. Brett 12-7 now with his win on Monday night here. Paulino is up with the fastball, and it's 3 balls and a strike now with Ryan Braun on deck. Felipe, 26 years old, from the Dominican.
Jamie Quirk raising his hat in the Astros bullpen, signaling that Burdack's ready, or whoever else is out there to the right, he's throwing with Burdack. If the phones aren't working.
Mark Melanson. 3-2 with Weeks going on that one. Paulino with 14 starts this year and 17 last year. And his career record now is 6-20 as a major leaguer, an ERA of over 6. This could be a really decisive time for the Astros to look at him, try to figure out where he fits, if he does, into their plans for the future. But a couple of innings in September might not afford much of an answer on that. Hart is caught looking.
Well, he has the kind of arm you're hesitant to give up on. His 96 miles an hour. He locked Hart up there with a good slider. And this year he won an 8, but really deserved it much better. And a number of games where he pitched really well, and the Astros just didn't score any runs for him.
Yep. Hart was locked up on that one. And now it's Braun. Braun is 1 for 3, a first inning 2-run homer. Brewers came out, and it was a Weeks homer, a Hart double, and a Braun homer in their 3-run first. But then Jay Happ walked Fielder, and with 1 out, gave up a hit to Gomez. Then he struck out Escobar and Lucroy. That's a drive to right field. Pence is back at the wall for the catch. Just stayed in the ballpark, and it's 6-5 Houston in the 6th. On Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by your Texas Chevy dealers, by Capital One, and by Verizon Wireless. Sunny day outside, very warm. Inside at 6-5 Astros. And Cameron Lowe delivers strike 1 to Chris Johnson. Johnson singled as a part of the Astros go-ahead 6-run 5th inning rally. Chris 1 for 2 today. Breaking pitch swerves outside. It's a 1-ball-1-strike count. A 6-run inning coming from behind. That is pretty rare.
6-run inning against a guy who had been perfect up until that point is really rare.
Ground ball to short. Counsell for the defense. 1 out. Red Wallace follows. Colorado got 4 in the 3rd after the Padres came up with a run in the top half. It's 5-1 Rockies after 3 at Coors Field. Troy Tulowitzki belted his 22nd homer on Clayton Richard. That was a 3-run shot. Where Victorialba had hit his 6th of the year. The starting pitcher still in that ball game. Wallace reached on the error by Fielder. He's 0 for 2. Strike to Brett. 6 hits for the Astros, 9 for the Brewers today. Oh, with a changeup, misses, and it's a 1-ball-1-strike count. Cameron was at AAA Nashville, and he got elevated to the big league club on June 1st. He was starting in Nashville, 4-3 with a 3.16 ERA there. In 2009, he pitched in Japan. 2 balls and a strike. Former Texas Ranger. Cameron's now 28 years old. The Cheeseheads are back.
Yeah, there's a Texas version of the Cheesehead.
Texas branch. 3 balls and a strike.
You can store your bratwurst right there in the hole in the hat. Get about 3 of those babies in there and come to the ballpark and you're good to go.
Gotta balance them out, though. Tapped up the first base line to Fielder. And this time he does field it. 2 outs. Our Texas Ford dealers, league leaders, show you the hottest players in baseball. Carlos Gonzalez is hitting .472 in September, going for a batting title, maybe even a triple crown, who knows. Troy Tulowitzki has 9 homers, 20 runs batted in this month. Cole Hamels 3-0. Brandon Lyon 15 saves since the break. Paul Konerko 423 in the last month. Angel Sanchez looks at ball 1.
Such problems for Charlie Manuel. How do I line up my postseason rotation between Halladay, Hamels, and Oswalt?
Sanchez drills that one. Fielded by McGee, and he throws him out. Good play by Casey McGee behind the bag at third. It's 6-5 Astros after 6.
Welcome back, 6-5 Astros. Don't miss the latest show in our In My Own Words series as we highlight Oliver Luck. Luck takes you through his life as a college and NFL quarterback, his days as an executive in the World League, the Houston Sports Authority, and the Houston Dynamo. Hear his story in his words Sunday at 10 p.m. only on Fox Sports Houston. Bill?
Thanks, Patty. Interesting ball game today here. It was 5-0 Brewers. The Astros got 6 in the 5th inning. Felipe Paulino worked the 6th. And in 1 inning, Paulino allowed no hits, no runs, walking 1, fanning 1 in his return. Now it's Tim Burdack, and he is pitcher number 4 today.
Tim came on last night. He and Jeff Fulcino got 2 big outs in the top half of the 8th. The Brewers had 2 men on. Fulcino came in and punched out Ryan Braun, and then Tim followed that up by striking out Prince Fielder twice, kind of. Strike 3 the first time. Humberto Quintero had called time, so one is no pitch, and he went right back and punched him out with the next offering. And so he faces Prince again right here, leading off the 7th.
Foul ball back. Fielder drove in a run with a 5th inning single to left. He also has a walk today. Burdack, like a lot of the Astros relievers, has been burdened lately. Fielder is 3 for 11 against him with a homer. Tim worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the Dodgers series, and last night. No balls, 2 strikes, but he's putting together an outstanding year. Lefties are hitting .214 against him. He's not given up a run in 39 of his last 40 appearances. That's whacked to center field. Bourne is there. 1 out to Burdack.
Well, Tim, one of those specialty left-handers who comes in a lot of times for just a batter at a time, so the workload although frequent, it hasn't been heavy in terms of pitches. So the key for him is just, the right amount of warm-ups, not overdoing it down there in the pen to keep himself available as many days as possible.
Well, 1 out is all he gets. That's all he's asked to do.
Made that 2-inning stint in Chicago, but since then it's just been a third of an inning for his last 5 appearances.
He'll turn it over to Mark Melanson right after this. Land Rover, we have had a lot to review in this ballgame. Brian Bogusevic cracked a 2-run pinch single in the 5th inning. The Astros were trying to catch up. That made it 5-4. Jeff Keppinger's hit tied it. Then Hunter Pence gave the Astros the lead. 6-5 and a big 6-run 5th. Bogusevic off the bench with his first major league runs batted in. And now in the 7th inning, the Astros tried to protect that lead with Mark Melanson. He's 2-0 with a 2.08 ERA, and he faces Casey McGee. McGee up the right field line, hits it foul, strike 1.
McGee probably looking fastball off Melanson. He tends to attack early, likes to try to get the jump with that fastball, and then finish you off with the curveball.
Ground ball to shortstop. Sanchez fields it. Number 2.
Did she make a play out there?
Yes, she did. Here it is.
Well, he caught her. Hands are overrated. She sold the catch, though. I got it. No problem.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt at all.
He gets all credit for that play. And he gets the ball. Gomez the batter. Gomez takes ball 1. He has 2 singles today. Matt Gamble is on deck, a lefty hitter. Pitcher spot due up next. That means bullpen action is taking place for the Brewers right now. Upstairs, Melanson sometimes lets it go and misses high. 2 balls, no strikes. Mark pitched 1/3 of an inning Monday night. Gave up a run and snapped his scoreless streak at 8 appearances. And he makes the adjustment, hits the outside edge, and it's 2-1. Mark, a part of the Lance Berkman trade coming from the Yankees organization. Lance is hitting 288 now for the Yankees. Bouncer up the middle. Sanchez makes the play. And a good one. In the 7th inning, the Brewers go down in order with the Astros leading it 6-5. 6-run frame in the 5th inning, especially considering the fact that they trailed 5-0 at the time. They didn't have a hit or a base runner through 4. Brian Bogusevic, a big part of it, with a 2-run pinch single. And Ryan Braun had hit a 2-run homer in the 1st as the Brewers unloaded 2 home runs and took a 3-0 lead in that inning. 4th homer for Braun against Houston. That's brought to you by Centerpoint Energy. Meanwhile, hit those Texas Bells and enjoy deep in the heart of Texas. And here is McClendon. Mike, coming into this 6-5 ball game, will be pitcher number 3. Cameron Lowe in an inning of 2/3, giving up 1 hit, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Mike McClendon in 9 major league games, 1-0.
Saw him the other night. Not a real hard thrower, but he's got a 2-seamer, 4-seamer, slider, curve. He's got a lot of different pitches.
Castro takes his first pitch, and it's ball 1.
Good sink on that one at 88 miles an hour.
McClendon was born in Arlington, Texas. 25 years old. Shortstop Counsell is out in the shallow left. It's the 3rd time the Astros have had a 6-run inning this year. That ties their high for the season. What they did in the 5th. Anderson Hernandez comes up now to pinch hit. Batting for Mark Melanson. Tim Burdack retired the only man he faced, Prince Fielder. Melanson in 2/3 of an inning, allowed no hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Hernandez, a 194 hitter, has 1 RBI. He's had 36 major league at-bats this year. As a pinch hitter, he's 1 for 7. McClendon was brought up August 12th from Nashville, where he had a 2.44 ERA. He delivers strike 1.
Curveball, also has a very good changeup.
Troy Hawkins was on the 60-day disabled list, and Clendon got a chance to join the club with that injury. And he became the first pitcher in Brewers history to retire the first 9 men he faced in a single game in his major league debut. No balls, 2 strikes. He was an all-star in the PCL. Also pitched at AA Huntsville for about a month early in the season. Hernandez is down on strikes.
Could change the tempo of his delivery a little bit there, that fastball. Yeah, see how he kind of jumps out in a little quick pitch.
Yeah.
Kind of a clever guy here, this crafty right-hander.
A crafty right-hander.
Yeah.
We need more of those crafty right-handers. There's a shortage of crafty right-handers. The craftiness usually belongs to lefties. Zach Braddock is warming up for the Brewers. That's the whole one thing, Michael.
Yeah, in the world of baseball, stereotypes and cliches, it's the big right-hander and the crafty lefty. Crafty righties are usually down in AAA.
2 balls, no strikes for McClendon.
But you know, I like his mix of pitches, and I like that he has the ability to do that, because I mean that can be a real difference maker for a guy who's a bubble guy in terms of stuff. There he goes again.
2-2. He's a big crafty righty. Paid attendance 30,000, 791.
What are you going to do to separate yourself from the pack, you know, if you don't have that 94-mile-an-hour heater?
To think of the last right-hander we saw with that type of jump to hitter approach that McClendon's showing there. It makes the hitter maybe come out of his game plan a little bit, although he's going to wait for the baseball, but still just hurry up in the motion.
Well, the fact that he doesn't do it every pitch, to me, is the key.
Yeah.
I mean, I think hitters can kind of lock in it if you do it every time.
Matt Lindstrom and Fernando Abad in the Astros bullpen. Colorado leads San Diego 5-2, bottom of the 4th in Colorado. It's 6-2.
He just shook off about 5 different pitches there.
Roll to the right side. Weeks spins, not in time. It came up on him and he couldn't recover to get the speedy Bourne.
Right side of the infield, having a tough day defensively. Big error by Fielder, and now Weeks opens the door a crack, and absolutely the wrong man to boot one on. No second chances with Bourne going down the line. Might as well put it in your pocket.
That's Weeks' 14th error of the year. Fielder made only his 3rd of the year back in the big 5th inning for Houston. Now Bourne aboard with 2 outs. Keppinger the batter. Kep had the RBI single in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. Mark Rogers is warming up for the Brewers. That's strike 1 call to Keppinger.
Jonathan LaCroix, the catcher, as that ball was hit out to Ricky Weeks, probably saying, thank you. Head to the dugout. I'm the on-deck hitter. Get ready for that at-bat. Now he's got to deal with Michael Bourne trying to steal another bag off of him, perhaps.
He's going. Ground ball up the middle, fielded by Counsell. He throws to first, and in time to get Keppinger. Good play. No runs, no hits, an error, a man left. 6-5 Astros after 7.
Welcome back. Top of the 8th. The Astros holding on to a 1-run lead. And baseball fans, remember Chevy is a proud sponsor of youth baseball programs throughout the state of Texas. To learn more, log on to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. And now I'm going to send it all the way over, in fact, 3 feet to my left to Greg Lucas. Greg?
Yeah, we're still watching our live chat. I think it's very interesting since the fans discovered that Brett Meyer's dad's on here. All of a sudden, he's going to win nearly 20 games this year. And everybody else is going to win more games ever since the Astros scored 6. Power of positive scoring, guys.
See that? Yeah. The psychology is amazing. Isn't it?
Oh, one other thing I got to mention. Someone asked about what they're going to do for the 50th anniversary of the Astros, and I mentioned that Brownie and Mike Acosta are working on a book. Brownie, you've already sold copies, so you better write a lot this winter.
We better get to work. Thank you. Fernando Abad is in the game. It's 6-5 Houston. His first pitch was ball 1 to the pinch hitter, Luis Cruz. And he swings at that one for a 1-ball-1-strike count. Well, there are going to be a lot of things happening next year to commemorate the 50th anniversary of this club. Cruz at 219 has no homers, 5 runs batted in. This will be his first at bat, though, with the Brewers. You see those are his career stats. Late on that one as Abad gets inside on him, and it's a 1-ball-2-strike count. Abad gave up a double to the only batter he faced Monday night, Lorenzo Cain, with a 4-2 lead in the 9th inning. Then he came out. He's 0-1 with a 2.84 ERA. Had 8 straight scoreless outings.
Escobar getting double switched out of this game, lost out on a golden opportunity for the golden sombrero. He had punched out 3 times.
The Brewers have had some other candidates for that award in this series. That's strike 3. So that spot in the lineup has 4 Ks. And that's out number 1 in the 8th.
Jim Reynolds, a home plate umpire, bringing Cruz up there on this fastball. Might have been a hair off that outside edge, but Castro was sitting out there, and Abad able to hit his spot. There's a golden sombrero right there. He's got the whole arsenal of cheese hats.
Jonathan Lucroy's the batter. There's strike 1 to him.
Who knew there were so many varieties?
Well fortified with cheese sombreros. Jonathan has grounded out twice and hit a fly ball to left. We'll probably be putting those in storage pretty soon. Bouncer to third. Long throw here for Chris Johnson. It's a good one. 2 outs. Plenty of arm from that young man. Arm strength is not an issue for him. Now it's Craig Counsell. Counsell walked in the 6th inning. What a crazy game today. Brewers came right out of the chute. Weeks homer, Hart double, Braun homer. They led 3-0 there with nobody out in the 1st inning. They got 2 more in the 5th to up their lead to 5-0. Then the Astros roared back with a 6-run 5th, tying their biggest inning of the year. Counsell to left field. Sanchez calling. A quick 8th inning for Fernando Abad. Keeps the Astros in front 6-5.
Lead, and country music stars Blake Shelton and Montgomery Gentry are coming to Conroe on October 2nd and 3rd for the Toyota Texas Bass Classic. Buy your tickets now for only $15 per day at either HEB or Academy stores. Bill?
Look forward to it. Thank you, Patty. These fans have watched a complete turnaround in this game. It was 5-0 Milwaukee going to the 5th. The Astros batted around +1. 10 men to the plate in the 5th inning to take the 6-5 lead. Now no more offense since then. And they have watched the relief corps keep things where they were at 6-5 Houston after 5. Now the Astros will be batting in the bottom of the 8th against Mark Rogers.
What happened to the rest of the Pepe bunch?
Not sure what happened to them. They may be out for a break.
Wow. They're checking out. The home team's got this one under control. We're moving on out.
Plenty of folks want to stay and see the conclusion to this one, though. This game has gone to flip-flop. Carlos Villanueva's warming up in the bullpen for the Brewers. Mark Rogers, the 5th overall pick in the first round of the draft by the Brewers in 04. Took a while to get here. He missed 07 and 08 with shoulder surgery. 6-8 with a 3.65 ERA in the minors at AA this year. Then he bumped up to AAA. And he faces Hunter Pence. And strike one. Hunter's 1 for 3, an RBI single in the 5th. Rogers made his major league debut Friday against the Cubs with a perfect inning.
You take that 5th overall pick in the draft, took a high school pitcher with it, and then he had to lose 2 years due to shoulder surgery, so you know they're going to be cautious with him working his way back. Shoulder's a lot more of a dicey proposition than elbows when it comes to pitching injuries.
1-2. Johan Santana just had surgery on his left shoulder. So he probably will miss all of next year for the New York Mets.
The torn labrum had Rogers out the first time, then the second surgery was just to go in and do a little cleanup of scar tissue because of the initial surgery. So much more torque on the shoulder, more of a complicated joint than the elbow.
Fly ball goes out to right center. Gomez moving for it.
I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I just play one on TV. I read a statistic the other day with the Tommy John surgery. I don't know if it was Tommy John specifically or elbows in general, but there's some pitchers about an 88% return rate to, fully back, all the way back to their top form. And some guys claim to come back better than ever because of all the work they do coming off that surgery. Shoulders, it's a 50-50 at best.
Carlos Lee bounces one to second. Ricky Weeks is there. 2 outs for Rogers. To be a relief, though, for the Brewers, for Rogers to finally make that trip to the big leagues 6 years after they drafted him in the first round.
I think that's part of the reason why they hired Rick Peterson as their pitching coach. He's a big believer in biomechanical analysis and having the exact perfect mechanics to relieve stress or reduce stress on the elbow and the shoulder.
Chris Johnson. It's a ball one. 1 for 3. The Brewers have the top 3 due up in the 9th inning. With Brandon Lyon warming up for Weeks, Hart, and Braun. Fly ball left center. Braun. And it'll be a 1-run Houston lead going to the 9th. 6-5. Was the best inning the Astros have had. A 6-run 5th inning to come from behind. See all the furious hitting they had to do. 6 runs on 6 hits with an error. Ryan Bogusevic had one of the key hits, a 2-run pinch single. Michael Bourne a stolen base. and he scored. Jeff Keppinger had an RBI single, as did Hunter Pence, to give the Astros the lead. Brought to you by BBVA Compass.
Just about as crazy as a game as you're ever going to want to see.
Yeah.
Take that fifth inning out of play, and the Astros have had one man over the minimum reach base. And that was Bourne reaching on the Weeks error in the seventh. Every other inning has been a 3-up, 3-down inning, except for that 6-run fifth.
You saw Jason Bourgeois checking in left field. He's batting ninth. Carlos Lee out of the game. In his fourth spot goes Brandon Lyon with 16 saves and 17 opportunities. It's a really tough one-run save here with Weeks, Hart, and Braun due up.
And Brandon gave up a run yesterday, but still managed to get the save in a 3-2 Astros win. Casey McGee hit a leadoff home run off of him after that. He got the next three batters, took it to the house for save number 16.
Weeks fouls it back. Weeks has been on 3 times. He has a homer, a double, and a walk. Astros Live coming up next. Brandon Lyon gave up the McGee homer, but still got that 16th save, as JD mentioned. But then he had a 2-run lead at the time. He's had several 1-run saves, though. And he strikes out Weeks. That's 10 in a row set down by the Astros relievers.
They're not messing around with him. Just blew him away. The old invisible.
Going very big out. Now Corey Hart has a pair of doubles, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. And he cranks a line drive up the right field line. It bounces and rolls into the corner. Hart heads for second. It bounced out of play, so he'll have an automatic double. 3rd double of the game.
He's got enough speed where he might have been able to turn that into a triple had it stayed in play. So the Astros catch a break there. That ball kicking out of play. Hart has to settle for a double. High cut fastball. He just rides it into the right field corner. Pence was over there in pretty good shape, but you just never know what kind of bounce you're going to get out there. And if that's a 3-bagger, the Astros would have been forced to pull their infield in. Ryan Braun now steps up. He's just 1 out of 10 in his career against Brandon Lyon.
A homer and 4 trips today for Braun. And this line drive hits for the right field corner. That one goes fair, and that will send home the tying run to make it 6-6. An RBI double for Braun, who hits one to almost exactly the same spot as Corey Hart, and the Brewers have tied it 6-6.
Just good, smart hitting there by Hart and Braun. Lyon likes to throw that cutter out away from the right-handed hitters, and they were both wise to it. Just trying to get ahead, trying to clip that outside corner with the slider, and if Braun's trying to do anything but that, he's probably going to fly out.
Back-to-back doubles, and that's double number 5 for the Brewers in this game. And it's Prince Fielder batting now. Fielder looks at ball 1. He has an RBI single, 1 for 3 with a walk. The Astros have Wallace, Sanchez, and Castro due up in the bottom of the 9th. Fielder is 0 for 11 against Lyon. Fielder's jammed on that one. He pops it up to the right side. Keppinger underneath. 2 down. Now Casey McGee. McGee hit that homer last night on a 2-1 count off Lyon. He is 3 for 7 against Brandon.
He's driven in 94. I would think if they don't put him on, they'll pitch very carefully to Casey McGee here.
Yeah, he took the homer out to right field last night. We talk about these right-handed hitters looking for that cutter away. seem to have that approach to hit it to right field as Hart and Braun did today. Lyon came inside on Weeks when he struck him out. Now time called. Castro goes out. Lyon is appearing for the 9th time against this Milwaukee club this year, and that's really problematical for a relief pitcher because these hitters have gotten several looks at him. Even though it might be months apart.
I would think the strategy here is to take a couple of shots out of the strike zone, see if you can get McGee to chase. If he doesn't, just put him on.
This is the first blown save for Brandon Lyon as a closer. He had one April 10th as a setup man. Ball one to McGee.
That's the perfect pitch in this situation. Just tease the strike zone a little bit, see if you can get a hitter to expand.
Lyon had converted the last 16 save opportunities. 15 saves since the All-Star break, tied for 4th in the league. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Lyon and Lindstrom wound up sharing the closer role for the Astros this season with Lindstrom's injury to his back. And they're the first pair of teammates in club history to register 15 or more saves in the same season. John Axford, the Brewers closer, is warming up. In the dirt, there's a block by Castro. 2 balls, 1 strike with Braun, who runs well at second. 9-2. Colorado has put a couple of 4-run innings back to back to lead San Diego. Bottom of the 5th now. 4 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th for the Rockies. Tulowitzki's hit a pair of home runs, giving him 23.
Boy, he gets a lot of big hits.
He really does. Good stop. Well, enough of a stop to keep Braun at second base. It did trickle away from Castro.
Yeah. Braun, not only he just couldn't find it.
Castro scrambled for it after it trickled away from him.
Not as significant with 2 outs to get to third base there. You can't afford to give in here. Keep that same approach. See if you can get him to chase.
Leighton Richard was tagged for 8 earned runs in 3 innings for the Padres today. Braun takes off for third. There's a fly ball to center. Michael Bourne moving in. And in the 9th inning, the Brewers tie it with a run on 2 hits. They strand a runner. It's 6-6. now for our Jaguar Performance, brought to you by the 2011 Jaguar XJ, showing you the Astros relief corps. Henry VR could have picked up his first major league win. And the core continued with Paulino with an inning. Tim Burdack got a big out. Mark Melanson 2/3 of an inning. Good play there by Sanchez in support of him. Fernando Abad, one hitless frame, shutting down the Brewers after they got 2 in the 5th. And now they have tied at 6-6, and they bring in their closer, John Axford, as well as the third baseman, Matt Gamble. Gamble, left-handed hitter, takes over at the hot corner in this 6-6 ball game. And he's batting in the 7th spot, so he would be due up second if the game went to the 10th inning. Axford is 7-1, 21 saves in 23 attempts.
They've done a real nice job since taking over as the closer for the Brewers. Trevor Hoffman struggling mightily early in the year, lost that job. Axford, the youngster, stepped up and has been very, very good. You see all those numbers. Outstanding work. Big strikeout numbers. He's allowed just a 1 home run.
Faces Brett Wallace. Check swing out to Axford. 1 pitch, 1 out in the bottom of the 9th inning. Wallace 0 for 4.
Typically, the manager of the visiting club will not use his closer in this situation because there still would be a save opportunity available for the road team. If the Brewers, Astros don't score here, the Brewers score a run in the 10th, somebody's going to have to close it out for them. Maybe Axford will be available for a couple. And of course, Trevor Hoffman has picked up some saves along the way recently to get to 600, the all-time save leader.
Yeah. Angel Sanchez looks at a high one, ball 1.
A bad predicament to be in if you're the manager, to have your backup be the guy who has saved more than anybody else in the history of the game.
Matt Lindstrom's warming up for Houston. Sanchez 1 for 3, an RBI single. And that one's up the right field line, drifting back toward the seats.
Good aggressive hack there. Angel normally just trying to shoot the ball the other way, but every now and then he'll look like he's trying to spin on one or lift one a little bit.
Happy guy there. Jason Castro's on deck. Axford, 27 years old, from Ontario, Canada. Is high with a breaking ball, 2-1. He went to Canisius College. Signed as a free agent by the Yankees in 06, and then Milwaukee picked him up as a free agent in 08. He has really progressed. He got his first major league win against the Astros in Milwaukee in late May. Almost hit him with that pitch. 3-1. Axford picked up a save Sunday against Chicago with an inning and a third. Finishing that shutout win for the Brewers, started by Giovanni Gallardo. He's not given up an earned run in his last 14 and a third innings. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Sanchez. The 21 saves by Axford are a Brewers rookie record. Previous record of 15 was held by former Astro Doug Henry in the 91 season. Axford has not blown a save since August 9th against Arizona. Came up from Nashville in mid-May. Hoffman was struggling. He was hurt and not pitching well. That's right toward the gap in left center. Braun cuts over. Braun is there. Big catch for the second out.
Well, he's hit into some tough luck lately. Hit some balls hard that people are able to make plays on him. A good swing. Bid for extra bases. And that's the swing I was talking about. Normally he's trying to shoot it the other way, but 2 good aggressive swings in this at bat. Bid for extra bases run down by Braun. Really a pain.
Yeah, he hit a bolt. Didn't catch a break on that one. Now it's Castro batting. Jason Bourgeois on deck. Castro's 0 for 2 with a walk. Scored a run.
He needs something good to happen. He's been frustrated today at the plate. Been frustrated pretty much his entire time here in the big leagues, but we really haven't seen signs of it with his body language. But he slammed the bat down in frustration a couple of times today.
strike, and it's 0-2.
As Browning mentioned, Canisius College, that's in Buffalo, New York, the Golden Griffins.
Oh, yeah, Golden Griffins. Calvin Murphy comes from.
I think Murphy's Niagara.
Oh, Niagara. That's it. 1-2. Canisius had some very good basketball teams.
Yeah, they played pretty good group over there. I don't know how many baseball players they've turned out. Actually, maybe one of a kind.
Yeah, he could be. Can't remember anybody from there in the majors. Castro looks at it. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. As JD mentioned, the Astros have concentrated all their offensive production in that 1/5 inning. Other than in the 5th, they've had only 1 base runner reaching, and that was on an error. Michael Bohr on the Ricky Weeks error with 2 outs in the 7th. Big Bang Theory has definitely invaded this game. Castro's down on strikes, and it'll be an extra inning game in Houston today. After 9, Brewers 6, Astros 6. Extra innings are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. All season long, Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. It'll be the 13th extra inning game for the Astros. They are 7-5. It'll be number 12 for the Brewers. They are 6-5 in extra frames. And it's Matt Lindstrom taking over as the 10th inning comes to Minute Maid Park. Matt has been pitching very well since he came back from the disabled list. The Astros 7-5 in the extra inning games, 7 day games.
Yeah, given the small percentage of the overall schedule that's played during the daylight, to have 7 extra inning games in daytime, that is really peculiar. There's got to be a reason, Browning.
No,
You've got to break that down.
There is no reason.
There has to be a reason.
It just happened. Matt Lindstrom throws ball 1 on his first pitch, coming off his 23rd save Monday night in the 4-2 Astros win here.
He's been rolling along nicely since coming off the disabled list. Prior to that, pitching nicked up a little bit. His performance suffered because of it.
Gomez bunts. Castro will not be able to get him. He couldn't pick it up. But Gomez is a good bunter and very quick. Should be ruled a base hit.
Yeah.
Yep, it is a single.
Even if he picks that up, it's going to be a very tough play to make. Gomez flying down the line.
Gomez had 30 bunt singles last year. He picks one up here, and here's a look at it.
Trying to angle it down towards third base. Not successful in that regard, but deadens it enough where he puts it in a great spot.
That is very good technique. Now Matt Gamble. Gomez draws the throw, and it's a low one. Wallace went down to block it. Gomez with 6 steals and 7 tries. gets his lead back. Gamble is 0 for 7 since coming up from the minors with 5 strikeouts for Matt. He was recalled from Nashville September 1st. He hit .309 there with 13 homers. He drove in 67. Gamble takes a look at it, and it's ball 1. Gamble had a slight tear of the muscle in his right shoulder, which kept him out for about 2 months at the beginning of the season. Then he had a few games at AA Huntsville before starting at AAA Nashville. He's been one of the top prospects in the Brewers organization. And he could wind up being the first baseman next year if they decide to trade Prince Fielder. He's had a lot of fielding difficulties at third base. He even played some right field at Nashville as well. Rolls at first.
Lindstrom really working hard on Gomez. These aren't just how you doing over there tosses. He's throwing pellets over there. Not able to hang on to that one, but Gomez has been served notice. Got your eye. You got you covered.
He's going. Castro with a throw to Sanchez. It hits him and goes into right center field. He seems stunned, but he gets up and heads for third base, and he'll make it there. He's been hit twice, once with a pickoff throw, and then he was hit with Castro's throw.
Yeah, the problem is they're not hitting him in the legs. Hit him in the ribs, and it looks like this one caught him on the helmet. Yeah, right off the coconut.
It's a stolen base and an error on Castro. That's Castro's first error. That looked catchable, but the error goes to the catcher. First for Castro.
That's a tough error.
Yeah. Put it right on the money.
Have to account for him getting that extra 90 feet. And a tough play for everybody. Tough play for Sanchez as the ball and the base runner getting there all at once.
Infield in, and Gamble's unable to do anything with that pitch. It's 2-1.
You got to get a punch out here. You at least got to be thinking along those lines if you're Matt Lindstrom.
Gamble had the start Monday night, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And he puts one up the right field line, foul. No, it's a fair ball into the corner, and that's a 7-6 lead on the double. Gomez scoring. And Gamble with the RBI double to right field. Gets his first hit with the Brewers this year.
The Brewers been peppering that right field corner the last couple of innings. Hart Braun back-to-back doubles to right field. Now Gamble from the left side pulling this ball right on the chalk line. And the Brewers have the lead.
Gomez made something happen. He bunted his way on, stole second, took third on the error, coming home on the double. Scored the go-ahead run. First run for the Brewers. In extra frames, and now Brad Mills is coming out. He has Gustavo Chacin warming up. Jonathan Lucroy is the batter. And Craig Counsell due up after Lucroy. The Astros have Bourgeois, Bourne, and Keppinger due up in the bottom of the 10th.
That trip by Millsy was more about conversation with the infielders than it was with Matt Lindstrom.
Looked like it, just from the reaction of the infielders.
Well, they got the corners pinched in here, anticipating a bunt.
Lucroy is 0 for 4. He did try to bunt, but bunted through it. Strike one.
Squared late and trying to bunt for a base hit. It was not a very good effort. If his intention is to advance the base runner here, you might as well just square around early and go into straight sacrifice mode.
Jonathan, 24 years old, from Eustis, Florida. He was a third-round pick in 07 by the Brewers. This one gets away. And over to third base, Gamble on a wild pitch.
So no need for LaCroix to give himself up to advance the base runner. A very important insurance run out there. The slider, once it hits the dirt, it's going to kick back the other way, and that's a very difficult one for Castro to handle.
Now the infielders move in tight. 1-1 to LaCroix. Two balls and a strike. Lindstrom had not given up a run since he returned from the disabled list. And that was 7 outings of scoreless ball for Matt. Pitched Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Took last night off, and now here he is back at it on a Wednesday afternoon game with Castro going to the mound. Cubs are at St. Louis tonight. Carlos Zambrano facing Chris Carpenter in that one. Reds will be at home tonight again, and for the finale of their Arizona series tomorrow. Tonight it's Homer Bailey against Joe Saunders of Arizona. Phillies have Roy Halladay against Florida tonight in Florida. Out into center field on a line. It's an RBI single for LaCroix, and it's 8-6 Milwaukee. The Brewers, who were quiet from the 6th through the 8th, now have tied it in the 9th and have taken the lead with 2 in the 10th so far.
1 off Brandon Line, 2 now off Matt Lindstrom, 2 guys who have really been pitching well for the Astros recently. It becomes a percentage play at some point when you use this many pitchers. I figure somebody's going to have an off day.
That is the case for Lindstrom. Gustavo Chacin will come in for the bullpen. Runner at first, 2 runs in, nobody out in the 10th inning. Back in a moment. Veteran lefty Gustavo Chacin comes in. It is 8-6 Milwaukee in the 10th. 2 runs home after 3 consecutive hits with an error involved as well. Chacin is 2-2. His ERA is 4.66.
So for the second time on this homestand, the Astros using 9 pitchers in a game, at least to this point. Who knows? There may be more. Chacin on now with the left-handed hitting. Craig Counsell coming up. Man aboard, still nobody out.
Counsell is 0 for 1 with a walk since he entered the game as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning. He's around to butt, takes ball 1. Brewers finally have broken through and scored some runs at Minute Maid Park. It's been a while for them. They had scored 6 runs in 5 games here. Council puts the butt down. Chassin in to play it. Bare hands and throws to Keppinger, covering. And the sacrifice goes from 1 to 4. Lucroy to second. Ricky Weeks will be batting. He has a homer, a double, and a walk today.
Yeah, that top 3 boy in the Brewer order. Really getting it done. Hart with 3 doubles. Braun a 2-run homer. And the double last time up to score Hart.
Strike 1 to Weeks.
I could be all wet, but it seems to me like Ricky Weeks is carrying his hands a little lower these days. Maybe trying to flatten out that swing a little bit. You know, he's had a swing over the years it's kind of steep and doesn't spend a lot of time in the strike zone. Kind of goes from up to down. That was one of the criticisms of him, that he didn't stay in the zone very long. He's always had that really quick bat.
1-1. Well, he has struck out 170 times. But maybe as the season has progressed, he's changed those hands.
There's at least a 50-50 chance that he hasn't changed them at all, but I'm just guessing.
Rolled out to second. Keppinger. Flip over to first to Wallace. Takes care of out number 2. Lucroy to third. And now it's Corey Hart. Hart has 3 doubles in this game. He has scored 3 runs and driven in 1.
It's a triple-double. It's a big day for brothers in baseball history.
What happened?
Well, this is the day that the Alou brothers all played in the same outfield for the Giants back in 1963. Felipe, Matty, and Jesus. And it was also the anniversary of the only time in baseball history where brothers hit back-to-back home runs. Lloyd and Paul Wainer back in '38.
Smash line to Johnson. And in the 10th inning, the Brewers break the tie with 2 runs on 3 hits, an error, and a man left. It's 8-6 Brewers.
Would have been a quadruple double.
It is 8-6. Milwaukee came up with 2 in the top of the 10th inning. Now John Axford, their closer, who came in with a game tied, could be the winning pitcher. Rally caps are out as the Astros prepare to bat in the home 10th inning. And it's been a nice day for the kids. A lot of the school-age kids were here early this morning, finding out more about weather. Now it's weather or not, the Astros can come through in the bottom of the 10th inning. Jason Bourgeois to lead it off. Homestand concludes on Sunday, and then the Astros take off for a 10-game road trip. And after that, only 3 home games are remaining. Bourgeois was out early. He went over to talk with some of his former teammates with the Brewers. There's strike 1 to Jason. Axford had a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Jason at 2:30 has no homers. He's driven in 3. He's had 74 at bats, 5 for 19 pinch hitting. Taps that one foul. No balls, 2 strikes for Axford. He does have that safety valve with Trevor Hoffman. 9-3, Colorado leading San Diego at Colorado, bottom of the 7th. Liner up the middle. Weeks. He got him. Didn't look like he had a chance, but he got Bourgeois from deep behind second base.
A lot of second basemen don't have much of a throwing arm. That's not the case with Ricky Weeks. He throws the ball quite well from the outfield grass. He's able to get on that back leg and fire that ball to first base. Boy, that could have gone either way.
Yes, it could have. From that view, safe would have been a fine call as well.
Safe was an option.
Yeah, it is an option. There's ball 1 to Michael Bourne. Like he beat it on that view. But the umpire doesn't have that view. Michael is 0 for 4. He has scored a run. It's 2-0. The Astros have all 6 of their hits and all 6 of their runs in the 5th inning. Other than that, they have 1 base runner on an error in the 7th.
Yeah, so that's how you score 6 runs in a game and have a bad day offensively.
Yeah.
It's the most bizarre game I've ever seen.
It's a crazy game
in that regard.
3-0. Can't remember a game out of this kind of pattern in a long time. That's a strike, and that makes it 3-1.
Now, we talk a lot about the Big Bang Theory of baseball. It says that the winning team will score more runs in 1 inning than the other team will score in the entire game. And the Astros were in position to do that had they not lost that lead in the 9th inning. But this is to the extreme. There's a 6-run inning, and that's all. They've done nothing else offensively.
Big bang and no other noise.
Yeah.
And now they get the potential tying run to the plate. Rick Peterson heads for the bullpen phone. Jeff Keppinger batting. He has an RBI single and 4 trips. That's only the 2nd walk by Brewer pitchers today. Hunter Pence is on deck.
Down 2 runs. Michael Bourne far less likely to run here. But you can't rule it out completely, because the one thing Brad Mills wants to make sure is that he gets a chance with Hunter Pence up there and a man on base to tie this ball game. Double play eliminates that opportunity.
Strike 1 to Keppinger. Keppinger is grounded into 13 double plays. Bourne stole a base back in the 5th inning. Now it's 0-2. John Axford.
You don't see Jeff Keppinger take many bad swings, but he was really fooled by that slider.
Axford had one save last year for the Brewers. One ball, two strikes. He was a starting pitcher as he developed throughout the minor leagues in 08 at Brevard County. And then last year pitched at AA Huntsville, AAA Nashville in relief. Bounced up the middle. Weeks will shovel, and Council does not have a double play chance there. And Thorne makes sure by sliding in at second. 2 outs.
Hunter Pence will have a chance here with a man aboard. A slow breaking pitch, feet on the ground. Temperature busting it down the line. And no double play.
Pence 0 for 2 against Axford. Jeff Plum is on deck. Pitcher spot due up next. Foul ball, strike one. Hunter drove in a run in the 5th. Final run of the 6-run inning for the Astros. He's 1 for 4. Maybe Wesley Wright out there in the bullpen. Almost hit him. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think he's going to try to get him out of the way and the fastball in just for show. Going to buy a little wiggle room on the outside part of the plate. Oh, that's a good heater, boy.
Trevor Hoffman's warming up for Milwaukee. 1-2.
Right over the top with a 95-mile-an-hour heater to the outside edge on the knees.
Temperature takes off and the pitch is fouled. When Trevor comes out, the relievers come out together and do their stretching. They were doing a little jogging yesterday. It's like a mother duck and all the little baby ducks just following behind him. Everything he does, the other relievers trying to do. And why not? He's got the best save total of all time, and he's 42 years old and still pitching. It'd be nice to glom on to some of that. Temperature takes off. It's a swing and a miss, and the Brewers have averted a sweep here in Houston today. They lost all of their 5-0 lead, fell behind, tied it in the 9th, got 2 in the 10th, and wound up winning. Final score, the Brewers 8 and the Astros 6 in 10 innings today.